employers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're watching along with us on CST or on YouTube, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny page, please subscribe. 104.5 ESPN page, please subscribe. You get to see us every day. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? See, you've got a new, and of course for our friends up in Shreveport and 1130 The Tiger, see, you've got a new parka.
Yes, I do.
You have a bright gold parka, and I'm guessing this one's lined and layered a little bit.
Yeah, this is LSU gold, and it is definitely double lined. Like, it's got double liner, and I know you can't see it at home, but I am not going to be cold in here today. Even wore thicker pants today, got the thick khakis on.
Really?
I will not be cold in studio here today.
Okay. I got an update on that for you if you're interested. The boss was in here last night. You know, he does Tiger Zone.
Yeah.
And he made the comment last night that it was cold in here. He was surprised. He was surprised, and I was surprised that he was surprised since we've been complaining about it for so long. And I said, well, you know, this is pretty much every day in here. And Hester comes in here looking like Nanika the North. And at any rate, the LSU Tigers getting ready for South Carolina. And we get a little bit closer to that. Got to hear from Coach O last night. Not a whole lot different from the quarterback situations than what we had heard. I think he spent probably more time talking about South Carolina last night. And, you know, we're going to talk with a former South Carolina quarterback today, Stephen Garcia, who had
trivia question, Hanny.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last SEC East quarterback to beat Alabama.
Is it Stephen Garcia?
Stephen Garcia.
2010, right? It's been a while. Of course, they go out of their way not to play Georgia and Florida any more than they have to, but still, it's an awfully long streak, and Garcia was phenomenal that day. But one of the things that O was talking about last night was the quarterback for South Carolina, Colin Hill. Ready?
Colin Hill makes a go to quarterback. He knows the system. He hit the ground running. There's several different formations. They can get 21 personnel and spread you out and make it a 10 look, make it an 11 look, make it a 12 look. So you have to be very basic on defense, be able to adjust to their formations. There are a lot of speed sweeps. There are a lot of crossing route stuff that gave us problems. They try to keep you off balance.
Anything that they saw in either the Mississippi State or the Missouri game, I would imagine that LSU is going to see in bulk on Saturday. So what do they look like to you?
So this is going to be an interesting matchup because what you do, I don't think, exploits the weaknesses of what LSU has been giving up. He mentioned 21 personnel. I've already told you a couple times this week that they brought their fullback over from Colorado State as a grad transfer for Mike Bobo. So that's obviously something where they want to be a point of emphasis to have a good fullback in place. So they're going to run a lot of 21 personnel.
That warms your heart,
that.
doesn't it?
Oh, my gosh. Let's just have a whole segment talking about that. And I think it was Andy Staples who made a great point on OTB-OT with T-Bob. He said, you know, when you look at Bo Pelini and the offenses that you've seen him defend back in the past at LSU, this is going to look more like that offense, right? Because it does have 12 personnel, 21 personnel, of course, 12, 2 tight ends, 21 personnel. You got a fullback there, usually dotting the I. So this is kind of a perfect situation, I think, for LSU right now because they're going to be able to play a little bit more base. Now, South Carolina can still get an 11 personnel with 1 tight end, 3 receivers, and a back and still run some spread concepts, but that's not who they are. That's not their main identity.
And we talked about the idea of keeping it simple, keeping it to not one or two defenses, but 3 or 4 defenses that LSU could master and, you know, adjust as they needed to out of it, but not a whole lot of calls, you know, right before. It's something that the defenders themselves talked about this week, that they can keep it basic. I don't know if we are fooling ourselves by thinking all of this at this point. South Carolina, came out and moved the ball against Florida. They've moved the ball at other times, so it's not like this is going to be be easier. Or anything.
I'm not by any means saying that they're an easy offense to defend because they do have Shi Smith. They do have playmakers at the running back position. Now they're looking for a number 2 receiver. That's really where they struggle. They've got a tight end that can make some hay over the middle of the football field with Muse. But the thing for me is I think matchup-wise it's just better for you because LSU's really struggle when teams spread them out, when they have a fast tempo, and this is not that. So it's not even talking about the offense and the personnel. It's more about the scheme and what LSU is going to have the ability to do. Like you might actually see a couple of snaps of true 4-3, right? We hadn't seen that this year.
That's a good point. And we didn't expect that we would see very much of it at all other than in, maybe some situational stuff. Had a little bit more on South Carolina's pass game.
Well, it's all the scheme. I think that it's about us being in the right position. All the plays that we've seen against Mississippi State and all the plays that we've seen against Missouri, guess what? We're going to see them again. And the wheel routes out of the backfield, the crossing routes, getting the ball to number 13, finding a way to get to him, running the tight end up the pipe, all the things that have given us problems, they do in their offense. We're going to see it again.
We talked about the concept of Stingley going with Smith wherever he went. How does that change the rest of what they do?
So anytime you travel a corner, the thing that makes you nervous with what LSU's shown is you got to have great communication. You do because you're traveling that guy. He's got to be on the guy. He's got to let everyone know, hey, I'm with him. I'm with Shi Smith. You've got to make sure that you're doing everything off of that, right? Because, obviously there's going to be defenses where you can play half the field plays zone, half the field plays man, but everybody's got to be on the same page. That's what makes you nervous about traveling Derek Stingley. So, hey, if you don't do that, then it comes on Elias Ricks. Hey, Elias, you got to do a job against a dog, a guy that's going to talk to you all game long. Go back and watch the Auburn tape if you have time. He got inside the heads of Auburn's defenders, and they didn't recover. They were trying to be too aggressive. They were getting penalties. They were trying to play the ball, not play the man, and they really started to struggle because Shi Smith is really good. You know this. You've seen receivers who are really good at getting under your skin, and they don't get the penalties called on them. It's right. They're towing that line and getting the penalty call, but what they've done is they've taken you out of your game.
Best talker ever as a wide receiver.
Ooh.
I got mine.
Oh, who's yours?
Steve Smith.
Oh, gosh, Steve Smith is a great one. Randy Moss was a really good one. It was a different style.
Yeah.
It was more jokingly, but Steve Smith came for your soul. He came for your soul, right. And he backed it up a lot, too. Hines Ward talked. Hines Ward talked as well, and he could back it up.
So we talked about the idea of traveling Stingley. What about the idea of traveling J.C. Horn on Terrace Marshall? This was in the South Carolina secondary.
Yeah, well, there's going to be some tugs. They do a lot of tugging, but they're well coached, man. They're going to press. They're going to be all over you. They're stingy. It's all going to be about our releases, our routes. Yeah, but we have some excellent receivers. This is going to be a great matchup.
What's to stop South Carolina from putting J.C. Horn on Terrace Marshall, or is that the best strategy?
Actually, South Carolina's got a couple of really good DBs. I don't think they have to. I don't think that's something they have to do. They're potentially getting one back from injury this week. We've talked about Sanders on the other side of J.C. Horn. I don't think they have to. I think they have the ability to be able to play 3 corners anywhere they kind of want on the field. It's not saying that Marshall's still not a mismatch for that corner, but I think they think enough of their corners where they don't have to necessarily travel J.C. Horn. He can play one side of the field. And then or the boundary or, the field, whatever they decide to do.
Okay. The second thing is they know that LSU is going to want to get whichever quarterback starts very comfortable early, give him some easy stuff to complete. That was the case in the first game for LSU against Mississippi State because it was Brennan's first start. And what do we hear after the game? Mississippi State took the easy stuff away. They were going to make him hit them down the field a little bit. And he got better as the game went along, but he was still a little bit tentative and, really started to come on, I thought, later in the game and then, of course, the next week. So if you know that South Carolina is going to try to take away some of the easy stuff, then how do you get your quarterbacks comfortable?
You have to run the football, and you just have to say we're going to stay with the football. If you want to play the sound first, because I've actually done some research, and LSU's rushing numbers are so all over the place and a little bit misleading when you look at them.
The rushing numbers for the Tigers?
For the Tigers.
Yeah, I'll have to put that off till next segment because we're up against a break. But, yeah, I'll get to that. We'll move that to next segment. How's that?
Okay, because you want to get a quarterback comfortable, what do? Well, you start running the football well. It sets up everything else for him.
Which quarterback runs better?
Max Johnson.
Yeah, okay. So if your running game can get better, you can do a few things. Number one, you can run the quarterback more, which that would lead towards Johnson.
Yeah.
You get your offensive line back intact for the first time since the opener. You'll have everybody that is that is supposed to start is going to start. So that's the first time. So that's two things that are very tangible that you can put together right there at the beginning that this could spark the running game. And then the third thing I would tell you would be John Emery.
Yeah,
I don't have to sell you.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely have a segment about that coming up after the break. But you also have to be creative. It can't be telegraphed, right?
Yeah.
Getting back to some of the runs that you haven't shown yet, the ISOs, maybe a power out of gun, a counter, something different outside of outside zone. Because if you're going fast, Hanny, like they did last year, and they're throwing the ball all over the place, you can just have outside zone. And you got a guy that makes people miss in the hole. That's fine. You don't need anything else. But that's not this offense right now, especially with Miles out.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. We told you we'll have Steven Garcia with us. We'll also have Ali Cosell from the Bird Rights. We'll talk more about the hiring of Stan Van Gundy. And Ross Dellinger, who had the story yesterday for Sports Illustrated. We'll talk with him about what's next for LSU and the NCAA. Brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air, an independent dealer of the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning System. As we get closer towards cooler weather, we thought we would have cooler weather. It's been a little bit warm this week, but we know it's coming. And with it comes those heating and air conditioner checks as you head into the fall and the winter season. So when you get in the program with Tiger Air, not only are you going to get priority service when you do need service, but you're also going to get those maintenance checks that make your unit just run at a more efficient rate that's going to save you money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Saving money is so key, obviously, in this 2020 year especially. Comfort Insurance Protection Plan is going to do that for you. Not only are you going to get lower utilities, that emergency service is going to come at a discounted rate. You're going to get discounts on parts and labor as well. And you're going to get increased equipment life, right? So your equipment's going to last longer. You're not going to have to replace as much as you normally would. Call 225-754-8687 today for that free quote.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Foundation failure is common in South Louisiana, and that's why homeowners here turn to a local company they can trust, WCK Foundation Repair.
WCK is the only company that specializes in drilled piers, the ideal solution for Louisiana's unique soil conditions. WCK is locally owned and operated by a group of professionals with years of experience.
Learn more about the signs of foundation failure on WCKFoundationRepair.com. Call for a free estimate. WCK Foundation Repair. Support the home team.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Tune in Friday night for a full night of prep football coverage. It all starts at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and East Ascension kick off at 7, and we wrap things up with a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Today's show brought to you in part by Supreme Rice, SupremeRice.com, out of Southwest Louisiana since the 1930s in Crowley. Support our Louisiana farmers. It's been a rough fall for them, but we always support our Louisiana farmers because they make great Supreme Rice, grown, milled, and processed right there in Southwest Louisiana. You know, you're inviting people over to watch the game. We've got a lot more home tailgates these days, right? So if it's a big pot of something that involves rice, make it Supreme Rice, whether it be the long grain, the brown rice, or the jasmine rice, which is now coming in the 5-pound bags. It's delicious complement to any meal, jambalayas, gumbos, stews, etouffees, and it's very easy to get at all of your Walmarts, all of your Costco's, all of your AG food dealers. It's always Supreme Rice at our house, so make it a good one with Supreme Rice. For more information, great recipes, go to supremerice.com. All right, so you asked for the clip. This was talking about the run game, basically.
Put the ball in our best players' hands, let them make plays. And I think we have three fantastic running backs. We need to run the ball more, especially on first down, and get positive yards. It's just not a matter of running the football to be 2nd and 10. No, we need to get 4, 5, 6 yards. Let's get it 2nd and 4. Let's get manageable third downs. But you know what? I'm not going to complain about the offense. I mean, we're scoring 41 points a game. That should be good enough to win. Are there areas to improve on? Yes, and we're going to improve on third down and goal line and the run game. But I think our passing game has been superb, and I'm very pleased with Miles Brennan and his play.
So if you were scoring over 40 points a game, if they score over 40 points in this game, you'd feel like they should win.
Right.
But yeah, you never know. I mean, I would have felt that way if they'd have scored over 40 points against Missouri, and they didn't. So
one of the crazier stats that I found breaking down the 3 games is that LSU's offense is 3rd in the SEC as far as percentage of drives resulting in points. 3rd, only to Florida, Alabama. Then it's LSU. So not only are they scoring a bunch of points, but they're almost scoring, every time they go out there. I mean, they're getting points. They're trying to set the defense up and give them a breather and put together some drives. And so it's not been now, and that's with really not committing to the run because you've had so much success through the air. But they're scoring points. I mean, 3rd highest right now in the league as far as, drives resulting in points. And it hasn't really been a lot of field goals. Like, that could be a misleading stat if you're out there and you had Cole Tracy and you're kicking 6 field goals.
If they get that kind of offensive production with one of the backup quarterbacks, it will be, frankly, a little bit of a surprise. There's supposed to be a drop-off. The starter's a starter for a reason. The backup's a backup for a reason. But it doesn't mean they can't be somewhat productive. If that defense goes out there and gives up another 45 points, forget it.
Yeah.
Okay. You give 45 points to Missouri. Missouri's not Florida. Missouri's not Alabama. He's right.
Missouri's Missouri.
Missouri's Missouri. He's right in that, listen, the offense has largely done enough. That's what's so, I guess, concerning to me about this game from LSU's standpoint is you've been scoring plenty points, and you still lost 2 games. And you might not score that many points this game because your quarterback play, not definitely, but probably won't be as good. I mean, what's realistic to hope for from the freshman quarterback? If they come out there and –
a Terry Wilson type day.
Yeah.
12 of – man, they're going to throw more passes. But I'm just saying what Terry Wilson – he's like 12 of 15 for 160, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah, if they had between 175 and 200 yards through the air and didn't turn the ball over more than once, that would be a real win for the pass game, right? Is that reasonable to hope for based on what South Carolina's done defensively?
I think so. I think it is. I mean, there's so much unknown, and everybody wants Miles to play. There's without question. You wish he was. There's always a little bit of excitement, a little bit of sunshine when you got a young backup quarterback that you saw on the recruiting trail and he's coming in. So obviously there's a lot of unknown, but the game plan's going to be a big part of this. And as I started to break down the numbers, and then SEC StatCat did a great job of really putting all these together, and you watch film and you start to think, man, LSU's been successful on some runs. Like what are the numbers telling you? SEC offense's best rushing success rate on early downs. LSU second in the conference. 49.23%. Okay? You go to third downs. Okay? They're third in the conference. 71.43%. Alabama's a crazy 92%, by the way. Okay? Those numbers are good. Overall success, running the football in the SEC percentage-wise, LSU leads the conference, 52%. Okay, but here's the stat that has to improve. Before contact, LSU is 12th in the SEC. Only 1.67 yards before the running back's getting hit. That's troublesome. That's an extremely low number in college football. After contact, they're third in the SEC at almost 3 yards after contact. That tells me the running backs are actually doing a hell of a job because they're not getting a lot of help right now. The third leading back in the country in the conference as far as success rate is John Emery at 62%, behind only Rodriguez from Kentucky and Pierce from Florida.
I don't know how much to put into the fact that these numbers are skewed a little bit because of who they played. I mean, you got a game with Vanderbilt in there. That's a third of your offensive statistics. It's maybe why people don't feel, oh, man, if you had gone and done this against Georgia or, even against a Kentucky who's got a pretty good defense, you would say, well, okay, Vanderbilt's been awful. Now, Mississippi State actually hasn't been terrible on defense. The defense has been way better.
Yeah.
And Missouri has given up a lot of points, but, they gave up points.
They got one of the best linebackers in the country. At least they have guys. Vanderbilt's the outliner here.
Alabama scored 38 against Missouri, that's considered a win, right?
Yeah, that's right.
If you promised me 38 points against LSU for Alabama, I'd take it right now.
But to me, when I look at this, and by the way, the SEC offense is the average of most yards on RPOs. LSU's second.
Yeah, I saw that number, and it surprised me because it's pretty much all the P, right? And there's not as much R off the RPOs.
Okay, so I know it's a lot of numbers, and we don't typically throw all these numbers at you because we're on radio. We understand that. But it tells me that you can be successful. You've got to have a game plan to do this and stay with it. The only alarming stat is the yards before contact. That's on the offensive line. That number has to improve. But when the backs are breaking the third most tackles and getting the third most yards after contact, you've got capable running backs. You're having success running the football. On early downs, you're second. On third downs, you're third. Overall, you're having the most successful runs. Now, you could say, okay, well, they're having successful runs, but they're not breaking the long ones. Okay, well, if you improve on the before contact, that's when the home runs come. Okay, it can't all be on the running backs. When the backs are telling you we're getting 3 yards after contact, you've got to improve the line of scrimmage. What'd you say to begin? The LSU offensive line will be at full strength since the first time since the Mississippi State week. Okay, you've got a young quarterback. You have a quarterback who we think is going to be Max Johnson, can run RPOs. That's the offensive identity this week.
All right, so we had a question to Bayou Ford Huddle. What is the red zone efficiency? Through 3 games, LSU has been in the red zone 11 times and scored 9 times, 6 touchdowns. So you got a 55% touchdown, roughly a 55% touchdown rate. That is in the bottom half of the league.
God, last year for most of the season they had 100%.
Yeah, it was
until the Auburn game.
So you do have you do have a high scoring percentage, but the touchdown percentage is let's see, that would work out to 10th in the league. So you got to be better. You got to be better scoring touchdowns. Let's see. What is the defense ranked? What is the defense ranked in what? You want to talk about? I mean, it's bad. I mean, what do you want to scoring defense, LSU is 10th in the league. What else do you want? Rushing defense, LSU is 5th in the league. That's mostly skewed because they only give up 9 yards against Mississippi State. Pass defense, LSU is dead last in the league. Total defense, LSU is 12th in the league. I mean, I don't have to look those up. I did it because somebody asked me to in the chat, but I know those numbers are bad without looking at them. Let's see. Emory should start this week. I don't care if he takes the first snap so much as I care that he gets the most touches. That's my deal. If Curry goes out there for the first snap, I don't really care about that all that much.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I want Emory to get the most touches. One more from Coach O on the quarterbacks.
Well, look, this has been brewing for a while. I mean, Miles was one play away from getting hurt. That could have happened in the first game. So we've been talking about this as a coaching staff since day one. Who's going to be the player that goes in? And some days you walk off the field, you think it's one player. Some days you walk off the field, you think it's another. They're freshmen. They're going to make mistakes. They're learning the offense. But now it's their time to step up. I do believe they're going to be ready to step up. But the thing is, we need is consistency. We can't turn the ball over. We got to operate the offense. We can't just run all over the pocket, try to make plays on our own, stay within the system. And the guy that can do that the best is the one we're going to play.
Isn't that where young quarterbacks usually get themselves in trouble? That, hey, listen, throw the ball away. Take a sack. You got a bad play, go down, live to fight another day. The old cliche, anything that ends in a kick is not all that bad. Just don't.
The old Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, just don't don't put the ball in harm's way.
Don't, when you're about to go down because you're getting sacked, try to sidearm one to a receiver that's 12 yards away and you throw it right to the defensive end, right? We've all seen those type of plays. Live to play another down.
No, but that's hard for freshmen to get in their first chance. I think they want to do something. They want to make something happen. I want to make the hero play.
That's why the more poised quarterback, whoever that might be, would go in for me. If they're that close, like everyone says, if they're that close, if it's one day we come off the field, it's this guy, the next is this, who's the most poised? Because one of them's going to be more poised than the other, right? And so when the bullets are flying, who do you think would handle that situation better? I don't know that. My best guess is, Max Johnson would be prepared for that situation. And that's 0 against TJ Finley. It's 0 against him. But
we're going on the fact that Johnson warmed up twice. That there were 2 times. Gordy said on the Tiger Zone last night, he was on the sideline when Brennan got lit up. That's who was warming up. So you figured that's who they were going to put in. Doesn't mean they haven't changed their mind. It's just that's what we have to go on. So that's what we're figuring. But we don't know that for sure. You think they'll know that today, though? You think that Coach O will? Yeah, that he sat them down at some point this morning or some point before they meet as a team today and said, "Look, fellas, here's what we're going to do."
They have to.
And how long do you think that's going to stay a secret?
Not very long.
One of them's good.
There's no secrets in Baton Rouge.
It doesn't even have to be. I mean, there's going to be a call made back to Florida or Ponchatoula, right?
Georgia or
Ponchatoula. right? I mean, didn't you call your dad when you were getting your first start? Didn't you call you call your people?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to call their people. Their people are going to call their people. And then their people are going to call somebody that's going to put it on social media, and then you
need to know. You need to know who that guy is. I would want to know.
I don't know that it's given on Thursday at 6:00 at night, which is probably when this will come out. I don't know that you're giving South Carolina any great deal of information or any great advantage at that point. I understand playing it early in the week, and you say, hey, look, we're going to get both guys. But at this point, the heavy practices, everything with the walkthroughs and all that stuff is in. They've prepared for both quarterbacks.
And I believe Will when he says we're preparing for LSU's offense. Because they are.
What else could they do?
Now, 9-on-7, maybe team today, 4 or 5 plays on RPOs that they might not have put in there for Miles Brennan. Yeah, that happened. But as far as the route concepts and what LSU does in that aspect of it, you're just going off based off what LSU did last year and this year.
But if it does break, like I said, on social media tonight, and it starts to leak out who they've decided on, I don't think Will Muschamp's going to go running down into the defensive meeting going, I've got it, Eureka, now we know. I mean, come on. They've been preparing for this anyway. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GoTro's Outdoor Power and our friends over at Skag helping you get into the top zero-turn unit in the market, whether it be commercial or residential. You have 60 months interest-free financing available right now. And not just the Skag units, but, if you're looking for edgers, blowers, trimmers, chainsaws, generators, you can get it all at either location of GoTro's Outdoor Power.
You're exactly right. 2 locations locally, Airline and Industrial Plex in Baton Rouge, Airline 74 in Gonzales. But don't worry, if you're listening to us in North Louisiana or watching us across the state on CST, GoTros is always going to take care of you as well with that free delivery. I'd encourage you to go to GoTrosOutdoorPower.com. There you can get a full list of what they have to offer. You can check out all the sales and promotions they have going on. You can also check out financing options right there on the website. You're always going to be taken care of by GoTros. Just another reason they make it easy.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Do you have or have you had COVID-19? Antibody screening or rapid molecular testing can tell you. Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours offers both with results from molecular testing in minutes. Learn more at lakeurgentcare.com.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
They are exactly the same.
They're identical. Actually, they're not. Has2 also has antioxidant vitamin C.
Antioxidant?
Then we'll take Has2.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Camry LE with 0% for 6 years or for $22,890. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now.
Coming up on Jimmy Ott's Game Time, it's our Thursday night football watch party live from Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Come out for happy hour and some char-grilled oysters as we get you ready for Eagles and Giants, or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank invite you to nominate someone for a Good Citizens Award. They could receive $500 from Citizens Bank, and we'll recognize them live on air. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com and nominate your good citizen.
I'm going to nominate Playboy Marty as my good citizen.
Okay.
Oh, except you got to be a local resident to win. Ah, yeah.
It's okay, because once Playboy makes the big time and he's this big Barstool Sports star, he's going to come on our show and he'll be a guest on the show.
Yeah, but you hear what the new thing is? What the new? I guess we're going to call it a podcast or maybe a video podcast. He's going to follow Mintz around and try to, chronicle the life of Mintz, trying to, navigate the subways in the rest of New York City.
Oh, I can't wait. I literally, that part of it, like Mintz in the big city.
Gordy's already agreed to sponsor it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the station's sponsoring it. Yeah. So it's
great.
It'll be fun.
I can't wait.
Playboy Marty, you going to Auburn and Ole Miss this week? I know you're still technically working here for another week, but you're going to the Auburn Ole Miss game, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go up, film some videos and stuff, Walk of Champions, some stuff in the square, and then we're gonna go to the game at 11. Then I'm gonna hightail it back here to work post game. So it's gonna be a full Saturday.
I like Auburn in that game. We were going through matchups last night. Like Auburn in it. This is the Auburn bounce back. I'll just kind of give you some foreshadowing to tomorrow's picks. Like Auburn in this game.
You know Bo Nix's numbers on the road compared to home, right?
I do. And Ole Miss's numbers against the run.
But you also know their offensive numbers at home. Whoa.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, look, we can do a pick segment tomorrow or something like that.
Although you've been crushing it lately.
If you're Gus Malzahn, don't you come up and say the last thing in the world we're going to do on the road at Ole Miss, a team that can't stop the run, is put the ball in Bo Nix's hands any more than we have to.
Tank Bigsby would be so damn tired after this game. He would have 3 IVs hooked up to him.
How many carries did Trey Mason get in that SEC championship game? Like 42, I think it was. Okay,
Tank needs 35.
You're Trey Mason today, and when the ball's in Bo Nix's hands, it will be to run the ball. Okay,
but you can't run it when there's no time left and you stay in bounds, Bo. You gotta get out of bounds.
No, you do. That'll be maybe one of our SEC, not an SEC true or false, SEC over under pass attempts for Bo Nix 16.
Now you've got me looking up where Trey Mason is today. See, that's how my mind works. You said Trey Mason, I'm like, he was really good. What happened to that guy?
Well, they wore him out. I mean, he
only played 3 years in the NFL and then played a year in Canada.
Those last 3 games, the Alabama, Georgia, or Georgia and then Alabama, and the SEC championship game, I want to say he carried the ball somewhere around 110 times, and I'm not exaggerating. It was like 42 sticks in my head for that SEC championship game, and I think it was maybe 35 apiece in the other 2. If I'm off, I'm not far off. They rode him. I mean, and he was great. I mean, for that month, there wasn't a better back in the country going than Trey Mason. That's what I do. That's what I do with the Tank. I mean, if my choice is to give it to the tank against the Ole Miss defense or put the ball in Bo Nix's hands, man, that ain't no decision.
Yeah, and then they do have DJ Williams if they need a change from if Tank's got there and he's gotten 6 carries in a row. DJ Williams is a very serviceable back within the SEC. He can go out there and handle being the second guy. Look, Bo, you're Bo Wallace right now, except there's not even really good Bo. Look, Bo Wallace had good Bo, bad Bo. Bo Nix is bad Bo and awful Bo.
Gotta admit, my confidence in the Ole Miss offense is momentarily shaken after watching that first half against Arkansas. And Barry Odom did a great job.
Yeah.
And I know my thought is that they are hurting a little bit more either due to the COVID restrictions and what they're able to do in practice, or the Alabama game hangover, and they got beat up pretty good, which always happens.
That stat's always out there. Yeah.
Watching them go 0 points is not over a half is not anything I ever thought I would see. And I think Auburn is they're in a desperate spot. A little bit like LSU. It's like, hey, wait, man, you got to get this one, okay?
Yeah.
Because you got to play better people down the road. You better get this one. I think there's a sense of desperation for Auburn this week, or there should be.
Earlier this week, I caught up with Richard Krause, who's on the Ole Miss Sports Radio Network, works for the SEC, probably heard him on basketball calls, and I asked him, I was like, why not John Rice Plumlee? Right? You got those 6 interceptions, and you don't think, let me go to John Rice Plumlee and just maybe even run the football? Is he that bad? And he did. I mean, he said, yeah, well, Matt Corral had the game before, and they thought maybe he's going to find it within the game, and I get that. But after my 4th interception, and let me just say, it wasn't tip balls. It wasn't deep 50-50 balls where the defender went up and made a hell of a play. It was right to the Arkansas defenders. Like Grant Morgan was just spying his eyes and intercepted the ball. I mean, it was obvious. That was his role in the defense. You've got this guy who's got a skill set. Even if he can't throw great, it's a nice change of pace from what you've been doing. Have they not been implementing John Rice Plumlee at all? I mean, I know he played a little bit in the first and second game, but you've got a weapon that might be limited, but he's a weapon.
We fell to the temptation of the early overreaction. I want to say that I'm giving us a little bit of an excuse because we had to wait so long for football. But what we did? We overreacted to KJ Costello. Maybe we should have. He threw for 600 some odd yards. Okay, but since then, he's reverted back, and he's about what the scouting report said he was. Same thing with Matt Corral. He had a monster game, okay, and then it followed that up with a good game. And what has he done now? He's regressed back to the mean. Giotano at Tennessee, same thing. Came out. They won a game against South Carolina, a hard-fought game. He didn't throw up on himself. He didn't do anything crazy down at the goal line. Oh, look, he's been no, he's not. Bo Nix in the first game, 2 touchdowns. Seth Williams bailed him out on both of those throws, and they beat Kentucky. It's like,
great
hey,
field
look,
position because of Kentucky. Yeah,
exactly. And then the fake punt. It's like, oh, Bo's net. No, he's about what we thought he was. Now it's not consistent across the board. It's the roller coaster effect.
Yeah.
But Corral is probably not as good as what we saw in the Alabama game or the other game at the beginning of the season against Florida. But he's not as bad as he was against Arkansas either.
No, yeah, there's definitely somewhere in between. But I'm just saying, you've seen it happen in a given day. Even the most heralded of quarterbacks, if they go out there and do that, what he did, I mean, it was obvious.
I'm with you on getting him out the game. Sure,
just get him out the game. You've got 2 really good running backs, and you want to put a quarterback in. That makes me think, and actually tells me they have not had that work in practice where they put John Rice Plumlee in and they ran quarterback counter, quarterback power, quarterback stretch, like they did against LSU a year ago with Rich Rod.
Yeah, I go to my
or Alabama.
I tell the trainer, I say, go to the sideline reporter and leak that he banged his hand on a helmet, or that he pulled a muscle somewhere or something, and we're taking him out. We're not benching him. He got hurt or something like that, and then fix it in practice. I like the analogy to the pitcher that gives up 9 or 10 earned runs. Okay, the first 5. Or 5 or 6 are on the pitcher. The last 4 are on the manager because he's got to get out of the game at that point. That I kind of put the last 2 on Kiffin. Take a break. We are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Garcia Roofing. No gimmicks. You are going to get the most professional work you've ever had done on your roofing project. Remember, free roof inspections as well. I tell you, every single day, it saved me. We had a free roof inspection, and they were so detailed. They had a list of everything that we needed. They had a list of what it was going to cost. They had pictures with every single list on the item of exactly what we needed because they are so detailed. They are so professional over at Garcia Roofing, Hanny.
Let me tell you something. Let me ask you something. Right after they finished the work, did you even know that they were there with the cleanup around the house? No, everything is exactly like you got a new roof, but everything else at the bottom is completely cleaned up. It's part of the professional service at Garcia Roofing. Your trusted home improvement experts in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, and on the North Shore. Call 756-3100 online. It's GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
From the makers of Blue Moon comes Light Sky. An extraordinary citrus sweet brewed with real tangerine peel, only 95 calories. Welcome to the light side of the moon.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Highlander for $4,500 off MSRP. That's right, $4,500 off MSRP. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, we get you set for the weekend. Hunt Palmer, Cole Kublik, Marlon Favorite, and the D-Generation Dome are all back. We break down Saints Panthers and Tigers Gamecocks. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. You know, give a shout out to our friends over at Brock. They got an event coming up.
The Brock Rock and Wine last year was a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun this year. That's Saturday, November the 7th. So it's a weekend that's actually free. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Tigers on a bye.
That's ordinarily the Alabama weekend, but this is 2020, man. The schedule's a little bit different.
6 p.m. at Audi of Baton Rouge. It's indoor and outdoor, so encouraging social distancing there. Live music by Blueverse, Wine Tent, Whiskey Tent by Calandro's. Always a fun time there. Food from local restaurants, including walk-ons, of course. Silent auction with some great items. Tickets are $60 in advance, $75 at the door. You can purchase through brortho.com. I'll be there. I'm pretty sure Scone will be there as well. Even the man, the myth, the legend, Blaine Besh will be there.
Oh.
So it's going to be a good time. Looking forward to that. Always enjoy Blueverse.
One other portion of this game that we want to get to is the eligibility of Jalen Brooks. Jalen Brooks was a receiver last year at Wingate. He was all South Atlantic Conference, caught 750 yards worth of ball, 6 touchdowns, and he's thought of as a breakaway speed guy, somebody who can really kind of tilt the field. He went to Tarleton State in Texas during the spring, transferred to South Carolina over the summer, and he's finally eligible, which Will Muschamp addressed yesterday.
We got word from the NCAA this morning that Jalen Brooks would be immediately eligible. Jalen's worked extremely hard. Really excited for him. I appreciate the NCAA's decision. I want to really thank Ray Tanner, Jeff Whitehead, and Chance Miller on the job that they did for us and working to continue to get the information the NCAA needed in order to make him eligible. So really happy for this young man. He's worked extremely hard. He's never complained. We're doing so much good work right now. He's been with our offense a lot, so we expect him to contribute on Saturday.
And with the search for a complement to Shi Smith, this is what he thinks Jalen Brooks can do for the team and specifically this weekend.
Well, again, he's a guy that can stretch the field. In our camp, he's one of the faster guys that we have on our team. He can really run on the top end and finish down the field. He's got good ball skills. Again, he's, like I said before, he's very bright, so he can learn multiple spots. He can play inside and he can play outside. So he gives us a lot of variety as far as the different stuff he's going to help. He's going to bring to the table and help us.
At some point on Saturday, he's going to catch a ball, and the announcer is going to say, and that's his first catch of the year. And an LSU fan is going to be watching the game going, this dude didn't even play.
Yeah.
So there's a reason for that. But you said this a number of times this week. It's Shi Smith, and then it's a lot of guys.
Yep.
And it was never more evident than in the Florida game when there were, depending on who was grading, 6 to 8 drops. If
It was
Jalen
more than that, by the way.
Okay, yeah. So maybe that's
they were being very generous with
grading
their
on a
drops.
nice curve. Okay, if this kid comes in and it turns out he can actually catch the ball, this could be a problem.
Well, catching the ball is step one because they've had a big troublesome area there. But I hate doing this, but it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for him. I mean, you're jumping levels here, and you're potentially going against a Derek Stingley, who's the best in the country, and Elias Ricks, who's the best high school corner coming out. Right, he was the number one in the country. Not
Wingate. I got to keep looking over my notes because
you say Tarleton State as well.
Wingate.
Right?
Well, he didn't play at Tarleton State; just transferred there. But he put the numbers up at Wingate. He was very good at
right,
that
and that's
school,
not
at
saying
that
you
level.
can't have success at some point, but I think first game out, your first time against this type of opponent, and he goes against really, J.C. Horn and Sanders and those guys in practice. I understand that, but it is a little bit of a transition. I think we saw Jabril Cox even, a guy who's going to play on Sundays. I think he learned that there was things that he couldn't do at this level that he did at the other level, like going underneath blocks and being able to still catch up with the receiver, things like that, where he's had a learning curve.
Here's what concerns me about that comparison. Jabril Cox had to be good the whole game. He's accountable for something every game. Jalen Brooks only has to make 3 plays in this game to have a real impact on it. If there are 3 big plays, he may run the wrong route. Let's say they snap the ball 60 times, okay, or 65 times, and he runs the wrong, and he's in there for 35 of the 65 snaps, and he runs the wrong route 32 times, but 3 times he picks up 25 yards apiece, and he ends up with 3 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. That's what concerns me. Is at that position, he doesn't have to be perfect. He doesn't even have to be good. He's just got to Jimbo, teach him one play. You know, that quote will stay with me forever. Skylar Green doesn't know the playbook. Jimbo, teach him one play. They taught him one play. He took it 80 yards for a touchdown against Arkansas. So, hey, Bobo, teach him one play.
Right.
Okay?
That's
all he's got to do.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's – no, I know. You just heard Will say it. It's not going to be a mental issue. I don't think it's running the right route. It's just the speed of what he's never seen before. When I'm saying it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for him. Because that little move that you used to do to get off the line at Wingate, well, that's not going to work here, right? And that's not saying that he's not 3 games from now, he might be a totally different player. But the first time out, I think he could be limited in what he can do for you.
But what I'm saying is it's only got to work 1 to 3 times for him to have an impact on the game. You buying? I don't know. Maybe he'll go out there and get shut out. I certainly don't expect him to go catch 9 balls for 134 yards.
His biggest game in 2018 came against West Georgia. He had 91 receiving yards, the long of 40, 2 receiving touchdowns, 4 catches.
West Georgia's really good.
Tyreek Hill? Is that where he ended up after Oklahoma State?
It was West Alabama.
That same thing. They all played North Alabama and Valdosta.
Ali Cosell. We'll talk Stan Van Gundy when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janny King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Janny King, the king of clean.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Abear here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, hanging with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 2. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, and Hunt Palmer joins us here in hour number 2. Hunt, nice to see you.
Great to be here. I think I just avoided a domestic crisis. We've had a cat for 20 hours, and I was left with the cat today and lost it there for a bit.
You lost the cat?
Lost the cat.
Did you find the cat?
A little bit of meet the parents deal. Found the cat. Got behind.
Did you spray paint the cat's tail?
Behind the pull-out trash can into a drawer attached to the island next to it.
You have to watch kittens all the time.
I wanted to go get lunch. I didn't think I could lose it in 15 minutes. I did, but we found it.
Yeah. That's what you heard over and over again.
You're just
it wouldn't do it.
You're just going to constantly be in trouble once you get married.
I looked for like 20 minutes. I couldn't find the cat. I live in a 1,400 square foot house and couldn't find the thing. With two of the doors were closed.
Comic relief once you get married.
But I found it.
We are brought to you by Richard Sonda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Yesterday, the New Orleans Pelicans, they didn't announce it officially, but the story broke that they will be hiring Stan Van Gundy, who also confirmed it on his social media. We bring in our friend Ollie Cosell from thebirdrights.com. Ollie, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great, Charles and Jacob, but I'll tell you what, I was enjoying that little cat story. I thought I had jumped into the TV movie, remember the Meeting with the Parents?
That's exactly what I felt like.
Yeah. Do you dog person or cat person?
I'm a dog person.
Okay,
got two of them here.
Then we can continue. We can continue to be friends now. So, Ollie, what was your reaction to the hiring of Stan Van Gundy?
I was extremely happy. You know, he had jumped to the top of my wish list over the weekend when I wrote a piece really detailing why I figured an experienced coach actually made a whole lot more sense for this Pelicans team than what many perceived to be a young coach, right? A new rookie coach that could have maybe been the next Brad Stevens.
When you looked at the positives and negatives with Van Gundy, what stood out to you?
I think the number one thing is that he's a highly regarded teacher, as to where he's considered one of the best coaches in the last 20 or 30 years in the NBA. His unfortunate time with Detroit kind of marred that thinking for the last, over the last 6-7 years. But I'll tell you what, everybody I've talked to, and if you look back to his previous stops with the Magic and the Heat, he really, truly was one of the best minds. And I feel like that's what this team needs. Alvin Gentry, for all his faults, was really good for, say, a veteran squad, where he gave them the freedom, where he allowed that versatility to shine. But these guys, as we saw, on the defensive end, closing out games, they horribly needed some more guidance, right? And I feel like Stan Van Gundy's the polar opposite of Alvin. So that right off the bat, he's got to shoot up your list. But there's a lot of other things, right? His great record. He's been to the finals. He's been to the playoffs more times than the Pelicans have in their 18-year franchise history. So, I can keep going on and on. But Griff, I think he's going to be – that's the best thing. One of the best things. He's going to make for a great fit alongside David Griffin, right? Griff's always talking about organic and human beings and authenticity. Well, it feels like that both of these guys kind of speak similarly. They say what's on their mind, but they have this certain belief of wanting the best and the most out of character and other personality traits. So I just feel like they're going to make for a good mix, right? They're going to make for a good team where Griff's going to build a team and Van Gundy's going to coach, and that's all he wants to do, by the way. There's none of this, I want to control some more personnel decisions like in Detroit. So that's really a good sign and a good step forward.
Ollie, how was this roster viewed from potential candidates, right? Because I look at it, and it's got a lot of young talent. You've got a couple of veterans, mixed in there, and I know some of them might not be there at the end. You got some trade pieces, but how is this roster viewed as far as the open jobs?
It's viewed really well in terms of that you can go in any sort of direction, right? I think had they gone with a rookie coach, they probably would have traded Jrue Holiday, and for sure J.J. Redick would have gone out that door as well. But I think with Griff wanting to win, and we saw that kind of last year, right, his first year, where he's talking about beating people's asses in the first media event to open the season in training camp. Then, of course, his moves, right? He signed J.J. Redick. He brought on Derek Favors. So you added a nice mix of veterans, and there was expectation. So I feel like he doesn't want to take a step back from that. And as we've always known with the Bensons, they always kind of would prefer to win now than having any kind of long rebuild. So I think this all fits with the plan and they're going. But, yeah, you're right. This roster does have that potential to go either way. But I'm glad they're going through the winning now because I think, honestly, they underperformed a lot last year. And when you've got a superstar, a generational talent like Zion, you don't want to tell this kid, hey, wait 3 or 4 years. You don't want to tell Brandon Ingram, who's coming off his first All-Star campaign, hitting his 5th year, we're going to take another couple of years to build this. No, I think you got to start going for wins now. You got to start competing for playoffs now.
So with that in mind, you and I are on the same page where Jrue Holiday is concerned because a trade that would send him out the door, it's difficult for me to see one that would make them better next year. Now, if you were acquiring future assets down the road, but for next year, I don't know that there's a trade out there that would make them better in for next season. So let's talk about long term with him. He's got a year left on his contract, and he's got a year with a player option. Now, Ollie, in any other scenario, this would be very obvious. He plays out that option, he plays out the contract, and then the player option he would decline. But I was thinking about something this morning. With the revenue issues that the league has had because of COVID, what are the chances that Jrue Holiday would say to them, listen, I'll commit for 2 years. I'll opt in on the player option and test free agency after that or do a new contract after that because the financial situation next year might not be so rosy.
Yeah, I think there's actually a decent chance of that. Look, it's hard for any player to turn down $27 million, but especially with the environment you just described because, look, we don't have a vaccine yet. We don't know how much longer, the United States is going to be dealing with COVID-19, right? Supposedly we haven't even hit the second wave yet, and I don't want to scare too many people, but people are saying things are going to get worse before they get better. So you're right. For Drew's future, it makes sense to go ahead and cash in basically that player option. But I'll tell you one thing I'm thinking about. I think that if he shows well and this team really does start winning in the first few months, I think Griff's got to consider on signing him to an extension. And what you would hope with that is that he would actually decline his player option, but obviously sign for more years at a bigger discount per year. But, of course, the contract's going to be longer in terms of years, and therefore the sum's going to be higher. So essentially you're going to tie yourself to him for a lot longer. So I think that's what Griff's probably going to want to wait on, right? If the team doesn't perform well, then I think you do have to shake it up. You've got to move him before the next trade deadline. But if he doesn't, yeah, please explore that extension. But if he's really adamant, then he picks up that player option, but at least you'll have him for 2 years.
Ollie, while I'm not as over the moon about the Van Gundy hire as you are, I do recognize that defensively, he's an upgrade, period, but defensively he's a major upgrade. And this has been the biggest problem for this team for as long as I can remember. So given the current personnel, what moves can he make to increase the defensive efficiency for this team in the short term?
Well, the biggest thing up front that you're going to recognize is that both Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson are going to have to start playing better defense. You already know what Jrue Holiday does. Lonzo Ball has really improved too, I feel, during his time in the league. But B.I., he's taken a step back. With the Lakers, there was actually signs of him maybe becoming a two-way player someday. That was one of the reasons Griff was very high on trading for Brandon Ingram because he did exhibit ability to basically stay with guards, whether they were point guards or shooting guards. We didn't see that last year. And, of course, with Zion, he looked completely lost on the defensive end, and that led to a lot of defeat. So I think that's where it's got to start. Of course, they're going to have to figure out at the center position because even though Zion's likely going to get a lot of minutes at the 5, you can't have him starting games, I feel like. You can't rely on him to be the paint protector for this team in his, just his second year, but he's only got 30 games under his belt. So I think that's going to be the biggest key. Are you going to go ahead and take a chance on Derek Favors again, who honestly did not look like the same mobile guy that we saw in Utah, or do you move on from him and find somebody that can hold that fort down for at least half the game, right? About 24 minutes a game.
If the hiring of Stan Van Gundy tips us off as to the future Jrue Holiday, does it also tip us off to the future Lonzo Ball? Because if we listen to some of the things that Van Gundy said when he was an analyst about Lonzo Ball, it appears to be a player he's very high on.
Right, yeah. I know you're referring to probably that time he joined Zach Lowe on a podcast right before the bubble started, and he went in depth on the Pelicans, broke them down beautifully. And you're right, he spoke highly of Lonzo Ball to where he thought he took a big step forward this year with the Pelicans, because not only did obviously his accuracy from deep improve, it was the fact that his willingness to shoot, to be more offensive minded, really impressed him. And of course, he's always been high in his rebounding and his defense. And for a guy that's 6'6", and obviously Stan Van Gundy cares about defense first and corralling rebounds, Lonzo makes for a great fit. Doesn't matter whether he's leading your offense or initiating it. He's going to be pushing the ball in transition, but then he's going to be setting up along the perimeter, basically nailing down those open spot-up threes, kind of like J.J. Redick. So you can foresee it working for sure.
Lonzo has been in the public eye for a long time, but you have to realize that we've known him since he was 18 years old. He's still a young player. How close are we to his ceiling?
Oh, that's a great question, because last year, if you remember, he started off terribly. He couldn't hit a shot. He was afraid to shoot. And then he had this stretch right towards the end of December. From that point till about the start of the pandemic for 2.5, 3 months, he looked like a guy who could honestly be a central piece on a team, on a good team. He was putting up averages right around 15 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. You take that every time and run, especially when he was making over 40% of his threes. When you've got Zion as the option number 1, B.I. number 2. So you need guys that are willing to be role players that do other things. Lonzo Ball, I think, could fit that to a T. So, I think his potential, I hate to say compare him to a great, but I can still foresee him hitting something like a Jason Kidd kind of ceiling for at least a couple of years in his prime.
Ollie, with all the draft capital that the Pelicans do have, is it draft and develop, or is it explore the trade market for a veteran player?
Yeah, that before I would have said for sure they're going to keep building and adding to this roster. But now with Stan coming on, you got to think they're going to be motivated to especially fill some of the holes, right? This draft upcoming is not one of the greatest, and it's not going to certainly have somebody that's a plug-and-play big minutes, especially for Stan Van Gundy at their pick, which is going to be the 13th pick coming up in less than a month. So I do think Griff's going to explore that trade market, whether he's going to hunt down maybe another center, find some longer defenders, because look, the Pelicans got torched by everybody that was 6'6" and a decent scorer and up, right? 6'6", 6'9", no matter who you played. It didn't have to be LeBron or Giannis, but shooters from other teams were putting up 30 points on the Pel. So they need somebody like Jeremiah Grant, somebody that's a longer defender, because B.I. and Zion, while you want them to improve, they're not going to get to the level Stan Van Gundy wants them. So that's another hole. But, I love that thinking, because that's not being talked about enough yet. They're going to have to make some moves, and I think they're going to probably dangle some of their assets. They've got a ton of them.
Last thing, Ollie, do we have any idea? I know there's some staff members that have been with Van Gundy at multiple stops, and of course, there's always a possibility of holdovers from the current staff. Are there any indications as to what a Stan Van Gundy staff might look like?
Well, you're going to probably keep a lot of the developmental staff, right? Fred Vincent, of course, being the obvious one. I've heard Joe Boylan will probably remain. But as far as Chris Finch and Jeff Bezdilik, I think they're going to be replaced. So I've heard 3 names. If Will Weaver doesn't take the top spot with Oklahoma City Thunder, I could foresee him ending up on Stan's bench. And also 2 other names, 2 other assistants. Ime Udoka, who's been assistant for a long time under Greg Popovich with the Spurs, who this past year was with the Sixers, has been mentioned, as well as Charles Lee. He's up there with Budenholzer with the Milwaukee Bucks. So those 2 guys have been rumored and tied to possibly coming here to New Orleans to serve under Stan.
Ollie, we appreciate it. We'll continue to follow the story as they get into what's an unusual offseason. Obviously, we don't even know when next season is going to start, but we'll follow it at thebirdrights.com. You guys do a great job. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Take care, guys. Thanks.
Ollie Cosell, thebirdrights.com. We'll take a break, hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
How he comes up with this stuff in his head and designs it is mind-boggling.
Debbie and Home Bank understand my business and understand that it's not normal. They've worked with me since the beginning to help my business grow.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast.
Tune in Friday night for a full night of prep football coverage. It all starts at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and East Ascension kick off at 7. And we wrap things up with a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. By the way, just one more NBA note before we move on from that. The NBA draft is November the 18th. going to be held virtually from the ESPN studios. The league announced today. So instead of having, I guess, 30 different remote sites, they're just going to put everybody on there and Zoom them. And I think they're getting better at Zoom calls, right? As long as you don't work for CNN, I think you're getting better at Zoom calls. Everybody's where they're supposed to be.
In 2020, if you don't know how to run a Zoom, you're not doing it right.
Yeah. Okay. We'll run the Zoom. Have your meeting. Be professional. Just because you can maybe get away with not wearing pants doesn't mean you should.
See, I still, like when I do any like SEC network hit or whatever on the old Zoom, I'm still gonna dress fully. Like I'm not wearing my underwear or anything like that. Like, I know they can't see you, but just in case that phone falls or something.
Well, that's happened to some people, and I feel like we should probably move on from this.
We probably should
before we get into any more trouble.
Let's talk about LSU and the Cox.
I
don't even know what you're talking about.
November 18th for the NBA draft. We'll fill you in during the break. Okay, Hunt. New quarterback. 2 weeks to fix the defense. South Carolina coming in. What do you think?
As I said Tuesday, and I still stand by this, it's a more interesting watch for me than it would have been had Miles played, just because there's something a little bit different. We'll see how they handle it. In terms of how I think the game's going to go, there's a few things that South Carolina's done exceptionally well in their early season. They have forced turnovers. They've gotten 7 in the last 3 games. They got 3 against Auburn, and they're taking those turnovers and they're capitalizing on them. They got 2 short fields against Florida. Trask ran a read option and coughed it up at midfield, and they took it and went and scored a touchdown. They got a pick, went down and scored a touchdown, and their 3 scoring drives against Auburn, 3 of their 4 touchdown drives against Auburn were 8 yards, 30 yards, and 50 yards because of Bo Nix interceptions. So they're forcing the turnovers, and then they're capitalizing on short fields. They're not driving the ball down the field, putting up prolific points. It's not an offense that's terrifying. It's got a reasonable quarterback with a pretty good arm. Harris, a running back who runs really, really hard. Shi Smith, who's a playmaker, and they're going to try to run the ball and win it with an aggressive attacking defense. It's not the style that's winning championships right now, but it's what South Carolina is. They know that, and they play to it. And LSU's got to stop the run and make sure you don't turn the ball over a bunch of times and give South Carolina's plodding offense a short field to go. I think it's pretty simple.
Well, doesn't a backup quarterback complicate that if you're trying to stop from turning over the football?
My concern is less about the quarterback because I believe Max Johnson's going to play the most of the game. That's not from sources or anything. That's just what I think. And I think that he'll do a reasonable job with what they ask him to do. The question is, does the offensive line play? Because if the offensive line does not allow you to run the ball, which they didn't really against Missouri, and they quit trying to run it, and the offensive line doesn't pick up blitzes that are coming, it's going to be a long day for the freshmen. If the offensive line shows up, LSU's offensive game plan, the playmakers they have, will allow them to be okay, by my estimation.
By the way, LSU, the co-leader in the Southeastern Conference in turnover margin at +6 with Arkansas, but that's a product of a different quarterback now.
Sure.
So, yeah, if Brennan were playing, you say, well, you feel okay. Probably shouldn't say this out loud, but they're one of only 2 teams in the league that hasn't lost a fumble yet. The other one.
Don't say that out loud again.
Okay. The other one is Auburn.
Well, some of that's because they haven't ran the football.
Nope.
Right? The rushing numbers are totals as far as carries, that's down. So a lot of your fumbles obviously come from the running back position, so that plays into it as well. And Miles did a good job when he was getting sacked of being able to tuck the ball and take care of it. Another thing that you kind of worry about with a young quarterback, but the turnover ratio still matters in college football. I know we had somebody a couple weeks ago that said it doesn't matter. It still does matter, but when you look at the games that LSU's lost, the fact that they've had that amount of turnovers and they haven't been able to win the games, that is still shocking to me.
Another reason LSU hasn't lost a fumble this year is because on that mesh point of the read option, we can get sticky. It's not sticky because they just hand the ball off every time. This time, with a freshman quarterback who thinks he can run a little bit, that's something that he can't. Well, that's something you got to watch. Don't put it on the turf because your miscommunication, you hadn't done that enough.
And we don't think of South Carolina as necessarily a ball hawking defense. They've turned it over. They've gotten 7 turnovers this year.
Right.
But 3 of them were against Bo Nix. So
yeah, those don't count.
Well, they count, but it's accelerated, right? It's not like they're taking the ball away 2 to 3 times a game.
If you watch the game last week and you're like, man, J.C. Horn, that guy is all over the place. He's a ball hog. That's the first 2 career interceptions he's had. He's a good player. He's always really been a good player, but that wasn't his MO. He wasn't a ball hog. Those were the first 2 that he's had in his career. So, yeah, I mean, to your point, they're not a defense that's going to necessarily go – if you're running a curl route, they're not going to jump the curl to try to pick it off and go the other way and then potentially get beat because they missed the interception. They're going to stay there. They're either going to try to make a play on the ball at the receiver, try to knock it down with a PBU, or make the tackle. Right, Hunt?
Yeah, I mean, I think every little cliche for the simple football mind makes sense when trying to protect a young quarterback. You try to run the ball. You throw some quick swings and some screens. You do called rollout, so he cut the field in half and he can run it if he needs to. He doesn't see anything. Like all that kind of stuff is, I think, obvious and something that they'll look at. But my thing is, I want to tell whatever quarterback it is, don't be scared to take a shot down the field. We may not be as efficient in the offense and in the short passing game and in understanding the coverages and understanding the reads, and we may not be able to plod down the field as well if we had Burrow or Miles or guys that were very comfortable doing it. There's a lot of things moving as quickly as you've ever seen them. If you've got a chance to take a shot with Terrace Marshall down the sideline, throw it up there. Like, let's try to make a couple of big plays to help you out and take things off your shoulders. And if you throw a deep ball 45 yards down the field and they pick it off, we'll live. I promise we'll live with that. But I don't want it to be so vanilla and so – because the defense isn't good enough to play that way. You got to score some points. So I'd like him to – whoever it is, to take some shots.
Take a break. Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated. When we come back, we'll talk about the impending deal with the LSU and NCAA situation. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Louisiana one call, 811. 811 is what you call before you dig on your property. You're thinking about putting in some landscaping, you're putting in a fence. It doesn't matter where it is. Maybe up very close to your house. It may be out on the far reaches of your property. You're putting up another building. Maybe it's a swimming pool. You got to call 811 because that way you'll have somebody come out to your home, mark the location of all the buried lines on your property, and then you won't hit any of them. Because once you do, it's going to cause problems for you and your neighbors. So don't be that guy.
You're right. You can call or click Louisiana811.com is the website. So if you can't, for whatever reason, maybe pick up the phone and dial 811, well, you can always do it at Louisiana811.com. You can submit that ticket right there. So multiple ways to get this done. And remember, they do all the work. You make the easy phone call. They come out. They mark exactly where you can and cannot dig. And then you know exactly what your project future holds. Call 811 before you dig because it's the law.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
with antioxidant vitamin C.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
Upgrading your ride is as easy as richardshonda.com during the Trade-In, Trade-Up event. It's a once-a-year event with great prices on every vehicle in stock. So trade up today. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Highlander for $4,500 off MSRP. That's right, $4,500 off MSRP. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Coming up on Jimmy Ott's Game Time, it's our Thursday night football watch party live from Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Come out for happy hour and some char-grilled oysters as we get you ready for Eagles and Giants, or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're presented in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers with 4 locations helping you deal with pain, whether just some lingering injuries, for old sports injuries, auto accidents. Sometimes you just get a little bit older, things hurt a little bit more. Let them do for you what they've done for us, which is in my family, dealt with herniated discs or muscle or ligament strains, neck or back discomfort. They can help you out. They'll put a program together especially for you. Exercises and stretches, dry needling, electric nerve stimulation, ultrasound, or cryotherapy. 4 locations of Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. 13406 Airline Highway, 2832 Plank Road, 467 Oak Plaza Boulevard in Brule, and now on Jefferson Highway near Drusilla with easy access from both I-10 and I-12, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Ross Dellinger, co-author of the piece on LSU and the NCAA yesterday, he joins us now. Delly, how you doing?
Good, Charlie. How you doing?
Captain Sunshine. There's a lot to unpack here. The first question I got to ask is, in your talks with people on both sides, do you think that it is more likely that the NCAA will accept the self-imposed penalties for LSU, or that there would be more coming?
Probably more coming, but I'm not sure on that at all. I don't feel confident in really saying that, and I don't have a whole long history of reporting on some of this stuff. When it comes to NCAA penalties and all that, I just don't. So I'd be hesitant to even, predict anything like that. But it does seem, just from talking to people, that 8 scholarships over 2 years, 4 each. We all know you get 85 scholarships. It isn't a real harsh penalty. I think the NCAA might slap a little bit more on there. I will say, as we wrote about during the conversations when the NCAA was negotiating with LSU back in June, was kind of the last time I think they seriously talked about this, is the postseason ban came up, in discussion with the NCAA. And the fact that came up tells me where the NCAA thinks these penalties should be. And, of course, LSU did not self-impose any kind of postseason ban.
The other thing that, 2 things really. Number one, what are the scholarship limits going to be next year? Because with COVID, we've seen roster expansions in the spring sports. We have to think that with, the COVID possibility, there may be some roster expansions in the fall sports, including football. We don't know that yet. But the other question would be, do you think that the NCAA will tie the football allegations to the basketball investigation?
That's a big question here, because if they lump them together, obviously you've got 2 level 1 violations in 2 major sports. And if they lump them all in one, they'll rule on them as one, as kind of a double whammy, so to speak. And that can lead to things like the dreaded lack of institutional control, which can lead to certainly long probation and postseason ban stuff. So LSU obviously wants them separated, and for now, it doesn't look like they're going to get their wish. That could change. I don't think that's necessarily decided. So that could certainly change. But for now, the way the NCAA has progressed and made decisions in this case, it would seem that they're treating them together for now. The issue I don't really understand, and I get LSU's side of this, because these are 2 different sports. They have nothing to do with one another. But the big thing here is the football investigation is done and has been done. And the basketball investigation is not near done. In fact, I think there's at least maybe as long as a year, if not at least 6 months left in the investigation into basketball. So, you want to wrap up football and kind of get it over with. You don't want to keep it open. And we saw what happened when it was kept open back in January. LSU and the NCAA sat down at the negotiating table back in December, January, and we're already starting to try to agree on terms, self-imposed stuff and sanctions. And then Odell Beckham pulled his stunt. And I know it doesn't seem like a big deal. Okay, a few $100 bills on the field. Let me tell you guys, and I know, Charlie, you having your sources in the school, you probably know that was huge. And the NCAA does not take it lightly. And it within hours, LSU heard from the NCAA, and they were not happy. And they reopened the football investigation, and all negotiations stopped. And so you don't want that to happen again. So you want to close the book on football. And I agree, it feels like it should be closed. But for now, it still remains open with basketball.
And Deli, I kind of wanted to start there with the OBJ stuff, because it's a unique situation. Like, we've seen star players in the NFL kind of get in trouble for what they maybe did or took or whatever in college, right? The Reggie Bush, kind of comes to mind. But I don't think we've ever seen someone that was a star in the NFL get his school in trouble well after he's already left for something like this.
Yeah, it's a little rare. It's a little unusual. Obviously the scene, I was down there on the field, and the scene was just, it was wild. Obviously there's all the celebration and everything, and I look up and Odell is like running toward me at a full sprint. And I don't know Odell that well, but turns out he wasn't running toward me. He was running toward the TV set behind me, and he climbed aboard the TV set while they were live on air. Clearly he was, not in a sane
overserved
mind frame. Yeah, yes. Overserved many of different elixirs. And and then of course started passing around the money that LSU had claimed was fake, but obviously wasn't fake. It was pretty clear at the time that it was real. It is an unusual circumstance, and it's significant. Like I said, it reopened the investigation. The NCAA was tipped off about it, and I should be clear on something. It's not a disassociation. LSU's not disassociating from Odell. If that were the case, they'd have to remove all images of Odell from all videos and posters and whatever else. But they're banning him from the facilities. Now, I don't know if I would think that the NCAA would agree with that and just leave it be. But I guess the NCAA could force them to disassociate. But for now, I don't think that's happened.
Ross, this is where they lose me, okay? I didn't think that the Odell Beckham thing was anywhere near as serious as the booster, okay? Think about it this way. If you're LSU, they had no idea that Odell Beckham was going to go be stupid on the field. They didn't even know they were going to win the game. They didn't know what he had in his pocket. They didn't know he was going to pass it out. And other than coming up with some cockamamie story about, it was fake money on the field, they pretty much handled it after that and said, listen, there was this much money. They gave it back and be done with it. We didn't plan it. We didn't encourage it. We acted upon it. I'm sure they responded to the NCAA. How is it that they're responsible for Odell Beckham being stupid on one night in the Superdome? Now, the other part of it, I think is very serious, okay? You have a rogue booster that is in prison right now because he embezzled money from a hospital and gave it to the parent of a player. Now, that's a big deal, okay? And if they come back and they say, either you didn't know about that or you should have knew about that, then to me that's the bigger deal. That could have been premeditated. That could have been something they knew about and were dishonest about. That's a big deal. Odell going down and passing out hundies like he's in the strip club in Vegas, to me that's something that was nobody's fault but Odell's. Now, maybe I'm completely off base here.
Well, no, I think I agree with you. The bigger deal, obviously, is the booster paying $180,000 to a player's parent. There's no doubt, and at the same time stealing money from a children's hospital. I mean, only in the SEC.
Guy's in prison, and he should be. Okay.
Yeah, right, and he correct, and I agree. That is absolutely the bigger deal. But I think they kind of work in a way. They're similar in that. Probably LSU, certainly high-level LSU administrators didn't know either one of those things were going to happen. Didn't know Odell was going to pass out cash. Didn't know a booster was paying $180,000 for a player's parent for a no-show type of job. So, in these cases they're tough because a lot of times the school doesn't know what's going on, or at least high-level administrators at the school don't know what's going on. But the school they hold responsibility, and that's why it is an issue with educating your boosters, educating your alumni, educating the former players. But obviously LSU couldn't control what Odell did, had no idea what he was going to do. But somebody has to be held responsible. And I'll say if the NCAA does increase those self-imposed penalties, if they add on some others, it's not going to be because of Odell. It's going to be because of the booster payments.
And that leads me to probably more discussion than we have time for, Ross, but I don't really understand the purpose of the self-imposed sanctions. Why don't we just let the people in charge do the sanctions? I don't know any other situation where the person who committed the act punishes themselves and then looks at the punisher and says, okay, is that good, or do we need to do anything else? What is the point of that?
Yeah, I think it's that's a great question, and that would be a good story. Like, when did this start? When did these people schools start deciding I'm going to self-impose? If I had to just absolutely guess, I would say that it probably started years ago as a way to curry favor with the NCAA. Hey, we're going to do this. Don't you worry about us. Don't worry about us. Don't worry about don't take time away from your busy schedule on us because we're going to penalize ourselves. And I guess it started with some schools doing that, and now it's become obviously kind of a trend. And it's all kind of in a way about, I think, just kind of currying favor a little bit. I really received a lot of messages from people over the last day or so saying, well, why doesn't LSU just self-impose? If a bowl ban came up over the summer in negotiations with the NCAA, why didn't LSU just self-impose a bowl ban this year in a COVID year where the team obviously isn't very great and everything? And that's tough to do, that just is. What if the NCAA is not going to impose a bowl ban and LSU ends up going like 5-5 or something and can get into a bowl, but you banned yourself for no reason? It's tough. All of this is difficult. And LSU obviously has and I know some of those guys, and they have a great legal team. It's when I was a beat writer there, communicating with some of them from time to time, and they do a great job, and I feel like they are competent and know what they're doing. So I think that self-imposed sanctions are adequate. However, the NCAA is so unpredictable that Missouri, for instance, it didn't think that its violations warranted a bowl ban, but it got one, and it fought it, and it lost, I believe. So you just never know what the NCAA is going to do.
Yeah, that's what you get for cooperating. Missouri cooperated and got hammered. Auburn told them to go fly a kite and went to the Final Four. So there's a way to do this. Jelly, we appreciate it, man. Stay in touch. We'll talk to you soon.
Garcia.
Thanks, Daly.
Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated.
I thought you were about to tell Auburn to do something else, and I was about to run and hit the dump button. Great delivery.
I have no intention of getting fined over Auburn University.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, your emotions get the best of you. You just never know.
That's true enough. Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com, helping you navigate these financial waters in so many different ways that they can help you. Right now, with interest rates at the lowest that they could possibly be, might be time for a refi to help you out in the long term and in the short term, because the possibility extends for you to skip a mortgage payment or two. If you're in the market for a new home, your purchasing power is at an all-time high. If you like your current location, but you just need a little bit of room, you're adding to your family, a construction loan might make sense for you right now. Sit with a counselor from GMFSmortgage.com, as Greg Price did for me, and they'll give you all of the options that you have. Then you'll map out a goal, and you'll walk from there all the way to the closing, and I think you're going to be really pleased at how fast that process goes. Thousands of people have had their lives changed by GMFS Mortgage. Let it be you to the financial betterment of your situation. Start that financial journey at GMFSmortgage.com.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
All right, man, what do you want to watch? Football or football?
Let's go with football.
Football it is.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, we get you set for the weekend. Hunt Palmer, Cole Kublik, Marlon Favorite, and the D-Generation Dome are all back. We break down Saints Panthers and Tigers Gamecocks. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, and by Hungry Howie's.
It's true. We always tell you about Hungry Howie's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, making part of your football weekend. LSU's kicking at 6. If you're not going into the stadium, you're still trying to figure out what you do on home weekends when you're not going in. Set a pickup time for your pizza at 5:40 p.m. It'll be ready for you right there at the store, Nicholson, just south of LSU's campus. Pick it up, bring it back. You'll have some hot pizza ready for you to go right when LSU kicks off against South Carolina at 6 o'clock. You can download the Hungry Howie's app, customize those pizzas, customize your order, get catering plates, get your wings, and always get that pizza with the delicious flavors crust. The best deals in the game. You can get 3 medium 1-topping pizzas for just $15, or when you carry out, you can get a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99. Hungry Howie's, make it part of your game day weekend.
Hungry Howie's.
Excellent work.
That's pretty good. We had some questions in the Bayou Ford chat about Ishmael Sopsher, who put himself into the transfer portal yesterday. If you've forgotten, Ishmael Sopsher was thought of as the number 1 player in Louisiana 2 years ago out of a meet. Defensive lineman. It was an LSU-Alabama battle, and he ended up going to Alabama. There were the scouting report on him was not terribly dissimilar to the scouting report on Tyler Shelvin. You had a big interior defensive lineman that had very, very good athletic skills when he put his mind to it, but all too often was prone to take plays off and be, for lack of a better word, lazy.
Lazy. I was about to say, just say lazy.
Lazy. Okay, I was trying to be nice, but and to be honest, Shelvin got here and he was out of shape. He had for basically a year and a month, was living right up to that. Hey, we can see the flashes. You know, there's a guy that's 375 pounds, but he can actually move his feet a little bit. Imagine if he weighed 340. And then lo and behold, a year later, he did weigh about 340, 345. Had a great year. Left school with the COVID thing, came back out of shape. You know the rest of that story. We'll see how it turns out for Shelvin, who could, be a very good NFL player for a long time if he puts his mind to it. For Sopsher, the turn never came. Shelvin got it about a year and change into his LSU tenure, where it became obvious, look, you better get with the program or your football career is going to be over, or at the very least it's not going to continue here. He got with it. He had a great year last year. For Sopsher, that didn't happen. He was behind from jump and never really turned it around to become a player there. Jacob, you covered him closely in high school. You did a couple of their games.
Yeah, we did their state championship games, and I said it on air. I charted 13 plays. It was 2 drives. And I charted 13 plays, and out of the 13 plays, he made 3 really nice plays. I think 2 tackles for loss and a sack. But the other 10 plays, he completely took them off. I'm talking about standing straight up, putting his hands on the guard, and just standing there. And that was the other 10 plays. And so you kind of knew what you were going to get. You were going to get flashes, but you weren't going to get a complete game. And if you're doing that in high school, can you ever get rid of that? Now, Tyler Shelvin got rid of it because Coach O stayed with him. He almost became his personal coach, right? But with Sopsher, it was time and time again. I would chart plays and I'd be like, man, those 2 flashes are great, but the next 7 completely takes them off. And so that's a stigma that he has. And he's only played, I think, maybe 2 games in 2 years at Alabama to that point. So he never really got in the rotation. So what's his mindset right now? Because I know a lot of people just assume, oh, well, maybe he can come back to LSU.
That was not my first assumption. My first assumption was that he would end up at Southeastern, actually.
I told y'all during the break, I think that he'd be a dominant player at a group of 5 school. But I don't know if he has the fire to be an every down player, even a rotational piece in the SEC.
Well, it's the same thing as Shelvin. We were ready to give up on Shelvin.
Shelvin's a better player, by the way, in high school.
Okay, but I got a lot of the same.
No, that's a fair comment. I'm saying Shelvin was a better player.
We were ready to give up on Shelvin. It's like, okay, we had just gone through. There's another name of the chat, Trevante Valentine. Okay, they're going.
You love that guy.
Man, look. Just the football part of Trevante Valentine I hated. Not to mention once you got to the off the field,
right?
Just really, bad behavior. Yeah. Okay, but they jumped through 19 hoops to try to get him eligible. They did it twice, which it was unprecedented for them because Dave Aranda needed a nose tackle. Okay, fine. Well, they went through all of that, and he never did anything. I was frustrated by that when they got to Shelvin because I'm like, this is Valentine all over again. He proved me wrong, and good for him because he got himself in shape. He got himself motivated. He had a great year last year. Was hoping that he would build on that, and it would be a great turnaround story. And maybe it will be, but I'm going to be watching real close to see what he shows up looking like at the Combine. Anyway, Sopsher could be that. I mean, he goes, gets motivated, drops a bunch of weight, realizes, man, I am throwing away a lot of money here, okay? But will he do that? I don't know the kid. I've never met him. I don't know anything about him.
You get more chances when you're that size and have some ability. If you are a 5'11", 180-pound dude who's pretty quick, they can go find another one of those in a second. There aren't that many guys that can move and carry 340 pounds with them, 325 pounds with them. You get another chance because of your physical gifts, but if you don't get it together, everyone will quit on you.
You want to blue book it where he ends up?
At a Group of 5 school in the Sun Belt or Conference USA.
Okay.
That's a step above the FCS you're talking about.
I'm going to say FCS school.
I would side with Hester on that.
Okay. We'll see. You do know reputation travels, right?
Yes, it does.
So does 6'5", 325.
Fair point, Hunt. Go into quit on. Go home and find a cat.
I'm going to try.
Stephen Garcia, former South Carolina quarterback. When we come back, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This was us 20 years ago. Since then, we've grown to over 200 employees. We've helped over 100,000 people purchase, build, renovate, or refinance over $17 billion in loans. We make the mortgage process easy and convenient. Apply online or at one of our local branches. If you're looking to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, go to gmfsmortgage.com to see how we can help change your life today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. Buy a new one for less than a used one. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
In 2022, the Ravens' next game, Week 8 against the Steelers. Ravens will bring in receiver Des Bryant to evaluate whether they want to sign him to their practice squad. The Seahawks among several teams expressing interest in receiver Antonio Brown, reports Schefter. His 8-game personal conduct policy-related suspension eligible to end after Week 8. Seattle would be a good landing spot for Brown, who's had a handful of off-field issues, believes our Keyshawn Johnson.
Because they have things that are in place in Seattle, and they believe helping guys as much as they can. And I think there's some leadership in Seattle, not just in the football field, but in the organization, that certainly could help a guy like Antonio Brown.
Keyshawn of Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. The NFL is also investigating a sexual assault allegation against Brown. Eagles tight end Zach Ertz on injured reserve with an ankle injury. He's out at least 3 weeks.
Coming up Friday, from Jimmy G's return to Foxborough to Baker versus Burrow, we get you ready for Week 7 in the NFL. Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin, Friday, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport, and on CST, as well as our YouTube page, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Joining us now is former South Carolina quarterback Stephen Garcia as the Tigers get ready to take on the Gamecocks this Saturday night at Tiger Stadium. Stephen, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
Great. Thanks for joining us. I want to get your initial thoughts on South Carolina, off to a 2-2 start. Some good things working there, some things to work on. What are your overall thoughts of their 2-2 start?
Well, it started off kind of miserably. I think every Gamecock fan can say that. But the last few games, even against Florida, I thought we kind of played, fairly decent. So hopefully, we'll kind of turn the corner here, and we can kind of find to get some keystone wins and get our program back to where we were, in the early 2010s.
Stephen, I was a little bit surprised when Ryan Hilinski wasn't the starter, and I realized you go get Colin Hill from Colorado State. Mike Bobo already has that relationship. But look, Ryan Hilinski is a guy that threw for 2,300 yards in the SEC. He had 11 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. He's the 5-star guy from California. You make the move to Colin Hill because he knows Mike Bobo's offense, and it just felt like they wanted a steady quarterback who wouldn't necessarily set the world on fire, but he would always take care of the football.
Right. And I talked to a bunch of the people. I'm actually in Tampa, and I've talked to a bunch of the guys that are still around, the campus and around Columbia, and kind of got the feel for what the program's doing. And everything that I've heard as soon as Colin got to campus, that he was kind of taking over as the leader, and he's got NFL arm, and like you said, he already knows he's familiar with Coach Bobo. So I mean, the stars kind of aligned, and I feel bad for Ryan, but he stayed there, and I talk to Ryan all the time. He asked me questions, almost daily. Just like, how do you handle this? How do you handle that? So his head's on straight, and I'm happy for him, and hopefully he gets a chance to play. I'm hoping, but the current state, Colin definitely, in my opinion, I feel like it gives the best chance to win.
Yeah, and you get your first win against Auburn since 1933. Now I know it's not a team you play every single year, but that was a big win last week. If you come in and you beat LSU this week, I mean, that's 2 back-to-back weeks where you beat 2 blue bloods in the SEC. That's something that I feel like could give this program big momentum, even regardless of what Auburn and LSU's records are this year.
Oh, there's no doubt. I never beat Auburn in 3 tries and never beat LSU in 2 tries. So, you guys are a pain in the ass to play against. That's for damn sure. But yeah, man, those would be 2 big wins, and like I said, hopefully we can kind of get these keystone wins and kind of get Muschamp and these guys kind of get some momentum going.
You beat Alabama, and for that we are eternally grateful. So just so you know that, okay? That was a great day. Stephen, LSU will almost certainly have a first-time starter at quarterback on Saturday, and they may play 2 quarterbacks in the game, as Coach Orgeron has suggested. I'm wondering if you can remember back to your first start and the practices in the week leading up to it, and what these young men are dealing with physically and mentally right now.
Believe it or not, my first start was actually against LSU after they won the college championship, the national championship the year before. So yeah, it was pretty intimidating, being a 18-year-old kid, and I guess I got redshirted the year before, but still, you don't play against guys like that on a regular basis. So you got the adrenaline going, especially leading up the whole week, and then you got the Friday walkthrough, and then the walkthrough before the game on Saturday, then it's a night game. It was crazy as hell, that's for sure. But that's what we sign up for. That's what you go to the SEC to do. You go out there because you want to play in front of 100,000 people that are booing you or cussing you out or cheering you on. That's part of the deal. And I was actually on a couple of radio shows earlier today, and I was telling them, once you get hit the first time, all that goes to all the jitters, everything else goes the wayside. You're ready to rock and roll. At least it was for me. So, and I feel like these guys nowadays with kind of stuff that I'm doing with the private quarterback coaching, I think these guys are a lot more prepared than say I was, being an 18-year-old going into that kind of environment.
I want to ask you that question about being prepared for that moment, because obviously when I was coming out of high school, even when you were coming out of high school, 7-on-7 was definitely a thing, but it wasn't what it is now. You mentioned in quarterback training. You do a great job there. There's people across the country who thrive in quarterback training, and so I do feel like a true freshman coming in and playing right now is completely different than even, let's say, 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh, there's no doubt. Absolutely zero doubt. I may have had maybe 2 or 3 workouts when I was in high school with some guys around Tampa that were doing this, but it wasn't anything to what we're doing now. And like you're saying, it's around the country. Hell, I make a living. This is all I do full time is training quarterbacks, and I'd never in a million years I think I'd be doing it, but I love doing it. I'm still involved in the game, still talk with these guys, and it's definitely. These guys are a hell of a lot more prepared now than they were, like I said, and like you said, when we were coming out of high school.
Now, I know it makes a quarterback's job a little bit easier when you have Shi Smith to throw to. He's been a lot of fun to watch this year. The question was, coming into this year, could he be a true number 1? And he's actually done that and some. 34 catches, 347 on the year. And he does a great job, Stephen, of getting under the skin of the DBs he's going against. As you know, that throws them off their game just enough, and he thrives in that moment.
Yeah, he does, man. I know he's catching some stuff from Coach Muschamp and some of the other coaches, but I personally love it. You got to have that dog in you. You got to be able to kind of talk some trash, because damn well those defensive guys are talking way more than what the offensive guys are doing. So I love seeing it all the time. So, but yeah, like you said, he's kind of come on and making a name for himself, and I'm happy for him.
Stephen Garcia is our guest, former South Carolina quarterback. Stephen, as you're training quarterbacks, what is the biggest thing that they have to fix, the biggest transition that they have to make when they do take that first snap as a college quarterback?
Oh, man, we can do the training. I tell these guys all the time, we can do this training until we're blue in the face, but nothing can replicate, live bullets and game speed. So as much as you can, try to get game reps and try to just mentally prepare yourself for what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, there's nothing like college football and the SEC and the speed of the SEC. I mean, these guys are running. You got defensive line guys that are running 4.4s. I mean, I thought I was pretty fast coming out of high school, and I was, like 2.10, running like a 4.5, and then I'm getting caught from behind by a defensive end or defensive tackle. So I was like, all right, well, this ain't gonna work. So that's when I started to put on a little bit of weight, so I could take some of those hits. But yeah, just the speed of the game is so freaking different from the high school level.
Steven, how big do you think this year is for Will Muschamp? Everything's so different this year, and 2020 football has just been kind of crazy already. A lot of people say nobody's really on the hot seat. Will, so far, it looks like he's got the program going in the right direction this year. But do you think he's truly on the hot seat?
This has been a crazy year to say the least. But to answer your question, man, I feel like a lot of fans around at least in the Twitter world and social media world would like him to be on the hot seat. Me personally, man, I answered this question earlier. I would freaking love to play for him. I think every current player that I talk to from the team now absolutely love playing for him.
Right.
It's tough when you got your in-state rival, putting up 73 points and just beating the hell out of teams and winning national titles. So, it's hard to recruit against that. It's hard to recruit against other teams in the SEC, but, I feel like he's held his own, and, we just got to keep having these keystone wins, and I think we just got to get over that hump of these, 7-6, 6-6 seasons. We got to have some 10-win seasons for him to kind of keep his job, in my opinion, at least, and hopefully that's soon.
Hey, I can tell you before we let you go, I only got a chance to play defense for about 2.5 weeks when I first got to LSU and Will was the defensive coordinator. One thing I can guarantee you, he'll have you ready to run through a brick wall. Always, always ready.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I see on the videos, man, he's constantly fired up. And, I mean, I actually talked to him. He's so good about reaching out to the former players and the alumni. And he's always like, yeah, anytime that you're in Columbia, the door's open to, you if you want to come talk to the team, whatever you want to do, man, it's you guys built this out. So he's been really great about that. And that's one thing that I wish, Coach Spurrier would have done. But, it is what it is.
Steven Garcia, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate having me on.
Thanks,
Steven Garcia, former South Carolina quarterback.
You mentioned something right there at the end. I wish Coach Spurrier would have been better about that. It's so easy for coaches to allow the alumni back in because it makes a difference. And how do I say this without sounding – not everybody is allowed to come in. I understand that, right? But the impactful guys, Steven Garcia is the last SEC East quarterback to beat Alabama. That's been 10 years ago. Okay, that guy was impactful for your program. The door should always be open for guys like that because to be able to share your stories and share what South Carolina means to you or what LSU means to me, like that's a big deal. And Coach O does a fantastic job of it. Like after the national championship game, all the former and current NFL guys in that locker room, he would point to them. Hey, what does this mean for you? What does this mean for you? I mean, Lyle Collins, Odell, everybody. You just point to them. What does this mean for you?
As long as you don't show up with a bunch of $100 bills, you're fine. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
What's the argument against for coaches that don't?
The only argument I could even imagine maybe is if they, the old coach was their boy and they don't agree with the way you're doing things and they're talking bad about you. I guess I don't know. I don't really think there's a negative to letting somebody back in the building.
The biggest one that got the most publicity that I can remember is Bill Callahan at Nebraska. And they were changing so many things there, and it had been, it'd been Tom Osborne's program for so long, and Nebraska football had done things one way and the right way, and they had won so much. And then when he got there, and they were going through the transition period, and he basically, along with the athletic director, kind of shunned the past.
Yeah.
And I was like, at Nebraska?
Yep.
Okay, if you're at Vanderbilt and you get to the office and the first day you say is, I want everything cleaned out of here that reminds us of any year before this.
Yeah.
I would understand.
Right.
Okay. If you do that at Rutgers, okay, you just say, clean the office out, man. Any reference to any year at Nebraska? Come on, man. Are you kidding me? I want to celebrate everything that we've done here because I can build on it. I send a guy out that played for me in the 1970s. If I'm a Nebraska guy, so a guy that played with 1970, maybe his son, his nephew, his next door neighbor wants to play. Maybe he's the next Tommy Frazier or whatever. So unless a guy's going to be problematic, and I think you know the guys that are going to be problematic, okay, you sort of welcome everybody else back in.
My biggest mentor, former player-wise, when I came to LSU, especially my last 2 years when I took over running back position, was Jimmy Taylor. Jimmy Taylor was always in the training room. Him and Jack Marucci had a really good relationship. Jimmy Taylor would sit there and talk football with me in running styles for as long as I wanted him to sit there and talk to me. It meant so much to me. Now, I'm a little old school with my music taste and kind of stuff like that. And I know his running style was old school, but it was my style. That's how I wanted to run the football. And he would sit there and he'd talk about little bitty things that he would do when he was with the Packers, and it was kind of his cheat system to be able to get, gain a little bit of leverage and all this stuff. And that time to me, like that's something that I'll always remember and cherish.
Well, Jimmy Taylor's last year with LSU was 1957.
Yeah.
Your last year was 2000. It's a 50-year relationship with the school that did nothing but, as far as I could tell, pay dividends for both the individual Jimmy Taylor and the school. And look, Jimmy Taylor had huge success in the NFL and might have if he'd have gone somewhere else, but it was LSU. LSU had great success after Taylor left, but they were much the better for having had Jimmy Taylor in the program. And 50 years later, still paying dividends for, like I said, both the man and the school. That's what you want.
And he looked like if you asked him to get a 3rd and 2 carry, he would pick up the first down still at that age. It was amazing.
Jimmy Taylor, and I'll tell you who else. Did you meet Y.A. Tittle when he came in?
Yeah.
Okay. I met Y.A. Tittle.
I met Y.A. Tittle at an autograph signing for the first time before he came back, at an autograph signing in somewhere in Washington. It's one of those ones where everybody, Washington, D.C., where everybody kind of comes together. And I sat there, and same thing. Once he figured I was LSU guy, we sat there and talked.
He was in the press box. I think he was 83 or 84. I don't remember exactly, but he was in his 80s. And he had his Hall of Fame jacket on because when you make the NFL Hall of Fame, they encourage you to wear your jacket to when you're going back to school, things like that.
I'd wear that thing to Circle K.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, at the Masters, I think you have to give it back. Okay. But in the Hall of Fame, they okay. So he comes up and he's shaking hands with me. I wanted to meet Y.A. Tittle.
Yeah.
And how can I say? He looked great. Okay.
Yeah.
The guy was in his 80s and you could look at him and go, man, that guy was an athlete. Okay.
Right.
And he's these huge hands. You shake hands with him and his presence. And it's just like, man, this guy was really something, because you can tell in his 80s, he's still got this presence and he still looked the part. And it's like, man, this guy at 25? Are you kidding me? I know why he's in the NFL Hall of Fame. And Jimmy Taylor was the same way. Those two guys, they're icons. Why would you not want those guys to come back? And I'm not saying that's what Spurrier did at South Carolina or whatever. I'm sure George Rogers could go back into the into the locker room if he wanted to. But those are the kind of guys that do you dividends forever.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be like all those type of guys. I mean, we could sit here and we can get a list together of 25 guys that without even question, they come to the front door. You don't even ask, why you're here. No, you open the door and say, welcome in.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do, because it's those small things that help out, right? It's, I remember Michael Clayton coming back, and he had just left. He left early, right, a couple of years before that. I remember him coming back and him talking with Early Doucette and him talking with Demetrius Byrd and just, spending his own time with him, and he was allowed to come back in the building. Those things, man, they go a very long way. And Les lost a little bit of that. Les lost a little bit of it, around 2012. He lost a little bit of that and didn't reach out, as much to the former players. That was one of the first things that Coach O did when he came back or came into the full-time position.
Take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm, fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors. It's the law.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we've faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
Tune in Friday night for a full night of prep football coverage. It all starts at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and East Ascension kick off at 7. And we wrap things up with a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep School Board Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Kate, here's where I give you an opportunity to promo the professional football contest on the air tonight.
We got a big one. To the
first
top
place
teams
in their sights, man.
That's right. NFC East battle. Tonight we've got Cowboys. Tonight we got the Giants and the Eagles. A 7:20 kickoff. So immediately we'll go into Jimmy Ott's game time, and they'll walk us into Cowboys and Giants tonight at 7:20. On Sunday, the Cowboys and the Washington football team at noon. Chiefs and Broncos at 3:25. Buccaneers at Raiders at 7:20 on Sunday night. And then Monday Night Football, the Bears at the Rams, 7:15 kickoff.
I'll be doing Jimmy Ott's Game Time tonight from Jolie Pearl, so we'll be leading you into Giants and Eagles. And I wasn't kidding when I said that first place is in their sights. They'll tie the Cowboys. The winner of this will tie the Cowboys in the win column with 2. For the Eagles tonight, Lane Johnson and Deshaun Jackson will be back, but Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz are out. With Sanders out, you know who the lead running back for Philadelphia is tonight? Boston Scott from Louisiana Tech will be their lead back tonight.
When T-Bob was talking about this game this morning, he said NFC Central matchup, and it just brought me back to the old days. I started to think, man, NFC Central. I started to try to think, it was the Buccaneers, right? We're in the Central.
Buccaneers, Lions, Bears, Vikings, Lions.
So you didn't even really get the thing right, but it was still. And I started thinking about the AFC Central. I was like, the Titans used to have to be in there with the Browns and
Steelers. The Cardinals were in the NFC East, even though they were in Arizona, because before that they were in St. Louis. The Saints were in the NFC West.
Yes.
The Atlanta Falcons were in the NFC West. None of it made geographic sense at all.
But it's like when the Braves used to be in the NL West.
They were in the NL West. That's right.
Yes.
For quite a while. So you got Giants and the Eagles tonight, and we also got a college game tonight. App State is playing for the first time in 26 days. See, I think this is the toughest thing now about trying to pick games. Arkansas State has played 5 times. App State has played 3 times. App State hasn't played in 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. It'll be 26 days. Arkansas State has put up 50 points the last 2 times that they have played. So, of course, App State's a 13-point favorite tonight.
I love Arkansas State tonight. With that many points, if you can get it, anywhere close to that. It started at 13.5.
It seems like a lot. But
just because of the layoff, we've seen the layoff when teams have not been able to play the games that are scheduled. It's a little bit of a slow start.
It is. The last time App State played, they played Campbell. Before that, they played
the Camels.
Marshall. There's just not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot to go on. They lost to Marshall and looked bad doing it.
Marshall's a pretty good football team.
Yeah. Okay. I'm tempted to go with you. Arkansas State played Kansas State tough. Played Memphis tough. Yeah. Okay, so I'm with you. It almost looks like it's stinky line territory tonight. But those are your 2 games. Tomorrow night we get Big Ten football on Friday night with Illinois and Wisconsin.
Illinois beat Wisconsin a year ago.
Yes, they did.
So a little bit of a revenge factor in Camp Randall.
I can promise you this, that tomorrow when we do our picks, none of my picks will be Big Ten. I
don't blame you.
Talk about flying blind, right?
Yes.
Come on. But whatever we're watching, we're going to enjoy cold Coors Light, cold, crisp, and refreshing Mountain Cold refreshment, and the new Slim cans are coming pretty soon.
Yeah, looking forward to that because you know why, Hanny? You can fit more in an ice chest.
Hey,
with the Slim cans, you can fit a couple more
stay
there
cold longer.
In the ice chest. They stay cold longer. Oh, Coors Light's all about being cold, right? If you need time to chill, grab a cold Coors Light. And by the way, yes, the Rockies are still blue in this room.
And if you want to try the new Blue Moon Light Sky, the new light, refreshing wheat beer from Blue Moon, brewed with real tangerine peels, lighter body, only 95 calories. Also in the Slim cans, and the little citrus fruit aroma, good taste. If you like Blue Moon, you like to garnish it with an orange. This is a lighter version of that, and the citrus is sort of brewed into it. Or if you want to try the new Vizzy Hard Seltzers in the variety pack, black cherry, pineapple, mango, blueberry, pomegranate, or strawberry kiwi with alcohol from real cane sugar, but only 1 gram and 100 calories. Our new Vizzy Hard Seltzers, all part of the Crescent Crown family. So get yourself a nice cold one tonight. Coors Light, the official beer of Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you in part by Tiger Athletic Foundation. As a former LSU student athlete, I can promise you that TAF is so important to what LSU does, yes, on the field, but in the classroom as well. But as we know, even though LSU is one of those programs in the nation, one of the very few programs in the nation that's remained self-sufficient in its operations, 2020 has been a very difficult year. A lot of unforeseen adversity. Due to those restrictions around COVID-19, the loss of essential revenue to LSU athletics will be in the tens of millions of dollars. This is a good time to remind ourselves that we are Tigers and our go never stops. We spell go a little bit differently here, and that go continues to go. LSU and Tiger Athletic Foundation is urging everyone to donate the Victory Fund to help LSU student athletes going. The Victory Fund will provide financial support for the most critical areas of need, including scholarships, healthcare, and academic support for student athletes. Your support is critical to the future of LSU athletics. To learn more and to donate, visit victory.lsutaf.org.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Started making beer at home and immediately fell in love with it. After like the day of my first batch of brewing, I was already thinking, can I do this for a living?
Oh yeah, obsessed with it. He was totally consumed by it, and then looked at me one day and told me I was put on this earth to brew beer. And I was like, wow, that is such a bold statement. And if you can say that about anything, then you need to follow your dream and do it.
Hey, football fans, T-Bomb here, reminding you that Hooters is your headquarters for football. If you can't get in, they still got the Hooters girls, the TVs, the wings, the beer, everything you love about game day. But what if you're watching at your house? Maybe having some people over. You don't feel like cooking? Well, great. Hooters, they have your back. You download the Hooters app. You'll get a free app, and then you go and you pick up the food. You bring it home. Everybody loves you because you got Hooters wings, and game day, it's a match made in heaven. Download the app. Get Hooters to go. Hooters, your headquarters for football.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to LA
Coming up on Jimmy Ott's Game Time, it's our Thursday night football watch party live from Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Come out for happy hour and some char-grilled oysters as we get you ready for Eagles and Giants, or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. I want to backtrack a little bit. We did some of this in hour number 2 with Ole Cosell, some of the reaction to Stan Van Gundy being hired as coach of the Pelicans. I wanted to do a little national response to this. This was Brian Windhorst on the hire of Van Gundy.
there's just no room for gambling here. And Mark Jackson and Jason Kidd's resumes are a little shaky compared to Stan Van Gundy's. And so it may not end up working out, but this was the safest bet that they could make on a guy who they feel can get this turned in the right direction. Because to be honest with you, with a young player, even going into his second year, it gets late fast. This hire was so valuable, so important.
That seems, for those championing the hire, that seems to be the biggest part of it, which is he can get them to the playoffs faster than anybody else that was available to them. That if Ty Lue would have been available, they would have taken him, obviously, and they certainly made an inquiry into Doc Rivers. But based on who they could hire, this was it. I'm not sure I completely agree with that. I think Kenny Atkinson could have got him into the playoffs next year too. But I have to say that of the jobs that were open, I think Billy Donovan could have gotten him into the playoffs next year too. But of the jobs that were open, Clippers, Sixers, Pacers, Bulls, Rockets still open, Thunder still open. While they're not beaten down, they weren't beating down Stan Van Gundy's door. They weren't beating down Kenny Atkinson's door either. So,
right.
And what Windhorst says about Jason Kidd, I was nervous about Jason Kidd because Jason Kidd has said on more than one occasion that he's more comfortable with a veteran roster. So that made me a little bit nervous where
right.
Kidd was concerned. I liked the Atkinson idea because I felt like he could kind of grow with the franchise, and I thought that it was more likely that it would trade Jrue Holiday than they would keep him. But with the hire of Van Gundy, I now feel the opposite, that it's more likely that they will keep him and they feel like they can win with what they have now and build with that and establish that culture and get them back into the playoffs. Yeah. Getting them back into the playoffs next year, Van Gundy's very, very high up the list. I'll be honest with you. You chronicled my response yesterday because it's not it's not one of these, I'm going to throw a party hires, but I did say yesterday he is an upgrade. He's a very, very big upgrade, especially defensively. So if your MO is the first thing is they're going to get better defensively, which has been a problem for a long time with them. And the second thing is you want to get into the playoffs because you have to start convincing your young superstar. Okay, I understand your thinking. Wouldn't have been my first choice, but I understand your thinking.
So when you look at this move, it tells you everything we talked about earlier, that likely Jrue Holiday stays on this roster. Likely J.J. Redick stays on this roster.
J.J. Redick was a big part of getting
because J.J. Redick had really good moments with him in Orlando. They have a relationship. Okay, so you're not going to try to get younger and plan for the future. So if that's your model, then you get a coach who's been to the postseason, been to the finals, all those things. You also have 4 picks in this draft, right? You've got 13, 39, 42, and 60. Not to mention what you have after that from all the trades that you've made. So you've got capital if you want to package something together. It's not a great draft. It's not a great draft, especially when you sit at 13. I don't know if you're going to get – in fact, you're not. You're not going to get a starter on this team at 13. But there might be someone who wants 13, 39, and 42, right, for a veteran player. Maybe he doesn't fit what they're trying to do. So you have things that you can get better and you can get a player that fits what you want to be, which is try to get to the postseason. That's why I said it last year. Everyone was talking about the bubble and what did it mean for the Pelicans. I was thinking, man, this would be big for the Pelicans to make it into the bubble and get into the postseason because that franchise needs to get that stepping block, right? You need to go from a team that's nice and young and talented and all that stuff to a team that starts to have postseason aspirations.
There's also this transition from Gentry to Van Gundy. When they brought in Griffin and they didn't make a coaching move. And I said, well, who's available to him now might not be as good as who's available to him a year from now. And it did take a little TLC because the end was so bad with Dell Demps. And everything was so negative with the franchise at the time that I thought, okay, I can live with a year of Alvin Gentry because he's at the very least, he's going to love him up. Okay. Yeah. He's everybody likes Alvin Gentry. He can bring people together. He held the locker room together. He's just not a very strong lead basketball coach. I mean, he's a very good assistant coach. He's a very nice guy. He's just not a very strong lead basketball coach, head basketball coach. Van Gundy is not going to love him up Okay,
Oh, no.
He doesn't come with a warm fuzzy feeling. Okay, he's going to be harder on him, and at this point, that's probably what they need. Last year at this time, they might have needed something a little bit different. Now going into next season, they need to have a harder edge.
And you know what helps that is J.J. Redick being there and saying, guys, trust him. I know he's getting on your you-know-what, but trust him. There's a purpose for his method. Don't pout, get in the corner and pout. Don't stick your lip out. No, he's getting on you. He's hard on you because, look, he was hard on me. He was hard on Dwight Howard when we got to the finals. That's just who he is. Now, he loves you. Off the court, he's going to be your friend, but on the court, don't be sensitive. Allow him to coach you. It's going to be different than what you just had, but allow it to work. That's a big part of why J.J. Redick can help this basketball team.
And with all that being said, there's one big thing that matters more than anything else with this hire, and that is, what does Zion Williamson think? Because Ingram was the all-star last year, but Williamson is the franchise. And that was what Windhorst talked about yesterday and how this hire affects Zion.
Well, Stan Van Gundy is not a guy who plays favorites or panders to players. He's a guy who is not afraid to get into his players' faces, not afraid to have friction. This is not going to be a relationship to make Zion Williamson comfortable and happy. It's going to be a relationship made to push Zion. And one of the things that needs to happen is Zion needs to bond with the organization. I'm not so sure how well it happened in the first year there. There's a little bit of a distance there. And I don't know if Stan's the perfect choice, but Stan definitely will elevate their level of play, and it's probably the type of disciplinarian that Zion could use.
Disciplinarian.
Yeah.
I agree that's what they need. I just don't know how Zion's going to respond to that.
Look, Coach K can be stern as well. I mean, I know it was a small sample size. It wasn't, 4 years.
Zion knew he was going to be there for 6 months.
It wasn't even really a year because he missed some time with the injury when he had the blowout. But, I mean, look, nothing tells me he won't be accepting to a new style of coaching.
Okay. So you show up at the NBA Summer League and you're a little bit out of shape. That's okay, man. He's been on the banquet circuit. He's the number one pick. That's okay. You show up to training camp, and then, you get hurt immediately. It's okay. It'll be all right. Fine. Then he got himself in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Came back and played well. Then you come back from the bubble, and he was in really good shape. I'm sorry, before the bubble.
Right.
He was in really good shape. I got to take care of some family business. I got to leave for 2 weeks. You got to what?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen. And I don't know what his family situation was. I got no idea what that is. I'm being perfectly honest. Maybe it was something he had to go back and take. But, okay, you got to show up in shape every time.
Right.
You got to show up and play hard every time. You got to. We need you on the court in the proper shape and in the proper frame of mind.
Yeah.
All the time.
And that you knew if there was one what if when you drafted him, you knew that was the what if.
So call it what it is. Van Gundy is going to be on his ass about his weight every minute of every day, and he needs somebody to do that. And
Talk about Van Gundy's weight? Or?
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
Okay. Of all the people that need to be talking to people about their weight, Stan Van Gundy and I are tied for last. All right. But I don't play
Right.
forward for the New Orleans Pelicans. I mean, if Zion wants to be great, he's got to be in great shape.
I think Stan Van Gundy is going to do just that. This is a guy that also has.
I know he's going to. It's how Zion.
No, he has the respect of the players. They've seen him calling basketball games. They've heard him on the Le Batard show on ESPN Radio. They know who he is. He's still a name that resonates with young players. I think he'll be fine. The more I look at this, and now that we kind of know the model, the more I like it.
We'll take a break. Ask Us is next in the Bayou Ford chat. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Richard Honda, the title sponsor of Hanging with Hester and Hanny every single day. You can find them online at richardhonda.com. In the bottom left corner of the website, it tells you exactly how long you have left to save in the trade-in, trade-up event going on right now at Richard Honda and richardhonda.com. You can also find the Warm Fuzzy Promise right there on the website on the homepage. That is upfront, transparent internet pricing, no unwanted preloaded accessories, complimentary paint protection, superior service and parts center as always. Outstanding customer care is going to be part of that Warm Fuzzy Promise, and also free first oil change. All that falls under the Warm and Fuzzy Promise. You can find that on the homepage. Also, the Buy From Home button. 7-step process. Extremely easy. You can get your car delivered to you at the end of that 7-step process. Take full advantage of that. But go see them at I-12 and Millerville as well. Over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles to fit every single lifestyle, no matter what you need. They've got you covered over at Richards Honda. As always, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
From the makers of Blue Moon comes Light Sky. An extraordinary citrus sweet brewed with real tangerine peel, only 95 calories. Welcome to the light side of the moon.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trust.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, we get you set for the weekend. Hunt Palmer, Cole Kubelik, Marlon Favorite, and the D-Generation Dome are all back. We break down Saints Panthers and Tigers Gamecocks. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Ask us in the Bayou Ford chat. Craig Schilling wants to know, ask us in lieu of Hunt's domestic scare, what's the worst pet you or your children have ever had?
I don't know. Do you have one?
I don't have a bad, I never had a bad pet, what I would consider a bad pet. I'll tell you the one story. My wife's best friend, her husband, they had a goat. The goat was, they had some property, and it's fenced in and all that. They had a goat, and the goat ate all of her plants and ate everything out of the garden, and she was not a fan of the goat. So
Not a fan of Tom Brady. Okay.
That's the one bad pet. I mean, I didn't have bad pets.
We got the kids, the boys, a bunny one time, and the bunny's claws would just a little sharp. Killed the fiddle fig. Same kind of situation.
Rabbits are tough.
Yeah,
tough as pets. Ask Jake, which non-SEC team talked the most trash?
Non-SEC team. Ooh, the in-state schools.
Really?
Oh, yeah. UL Lafayette, Louisiana Tech, those schools, Tulane. You know, they had some built-up anger, I guess, for a couple of years by the time they faced you. They played high school against you for the most part. So, yeah, it was definitely the in-state schools.
Ask us, for the next Saints game, do they get over 3,000 fans? I guess it's 3,000 this weekend, and then after that, do they get over 3,000?
I'm not guessing with the Latoya.
Does look like the Baton Rouge thing has been taken off the table. Ask us, what is one product used regularly, not a luxury item, that you will always spend more money for to get higher quality?
You've got something.
I do. I'm not buying cheap toilet paper.
Oh,
ever.
No.
I'm not saving money in that aisle.
No.
I'm just not.
Our paper towels.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no.
Paper products. For sure.
Paper plates, same thing. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Ask us, did Miles Brennan not gain enough weight? That had nothing to do with it. This one's interesting. Ask us, Hester, did you ever have a teammate really scared to fly?
Yes, Glenn Dorsey.
Really?
Terrified. I've told that story. I don't know if that's
okay. I've never heard
it. His first time ever getting on an airplane was our first away trip because he's, went to East Ascension from Gonzales and never took his official visits. He had never been on a plane before we had our first road trip our freshman year in 2004. He was gripping the seat so hard and sweating and panicking.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Tyson Jackson and I sitting behind him, when we took off, we grabbed his seat and we started shaking it. And he panicked. He turned, just white, and just you could see the fear in his eyes.
You guys are jerks.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
that's really bad. The one I remember was as a player, he played for the Rockets named Royce White. I'm trying to remember. I think he went to Iowa State, and he was a high pick. I want to say he was a first-round pick, but he dropped a little bit in the draft because he was terrified to fly. And
the old John Madden.
He quit the game. He literally quit the first year. He was one of the guys that he was really promoting a mental health program for NBA players to help them deal with different issues. And his was, he wouldn't fly, and he never really played for the Rockets. He spent a few years in the developmental league and, on the bus and whatever.
Right.
He wouldn't do it. This is a guy that literally turned on millions of dollars. He could not get over his phobia of flying. Ask Hanny, when you first hung up your headset on 11/30/2001, did you imagine 20 years and 3 national championships later? Okay, first of all, I don't know whether to be impressed or scared to my core that he remembers the exact day that I quit my other job, but I'll let you in on a little secret. I knew I wasn't hanging up my headsets for good. I was just hanging them up for the time being, and what happened was I had always planned to come to work here.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't plan to come to work here for another 6 months. And then the next day LSU was playing Auburn. Yeah. And so my last day was the 30th, and I don't even think my wife or my mother knows that date, but I remember it. And so the deal was that I was going to come back to work here for the next football season. Well, when they won, they were going to the SEC championship game. And Gordy called me on Monday morning and said, no, I need you now.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming to work here, which led to the almost lawsuit and the contract and all that, which I've told that story before. But I knew I wasn't quitting. I was going on hiatus. But
right.
I will say for one particular executive at my former place of business, I did have to sell it a little bit. Yeah. But no, I didn't think they'd have won 3 national championships, which I think was where the question was coming from. Ask us, what country have you visited and vowed never to visit again? I haven't been that many places.
Everywhere I've been, I went for a purpose, and I've enjoyed it. Canada, Mexico, England. Everywhere, all the Caribbean countries.
I will say this, it's not a country, but we went to Paris, okay? I saw Paris.
Well, France is a country.
I know. That's why I said it's not it's a city. I don't have to go back to Paris. I went. The people are rude. I saw the sights. I'm going, but I would like to go back to Normandy. Okay, so I would like to go back to France, but not necessarily to Paris. Ask us, who do you think starts this Saturday? I mean, we've gone with Max Johnson because he warmed up, but that's all we're going on.
Yeah, and then, you get the reports. TJ Finley's doing well, and TJ Finley's been the first name out of Coach O's mouth. Both of them are going to play. That's all. Both of them are going to play. Whoever trots out there first, he trots out there first. But I think both are going to play.
Ask us, what's the best and worst thing about getting older?
The best thing and the worst.
I got more experience at this. Can I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. The best thing is that if you're smart about it, and I'd like to say I'm smart about it all the time, but it's not true, you make fewer mistakes, or at least you should.
Mm.
You should, if you learn from your mistakes, and I don't always, I'm far from perfect, you should make fewer mistakes. The worst thing is more things hurt.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll agree with that. The worst thing is I'm sore every day when I get up now. The best thing is being able to see my boys grow up and be able to share like a football field with them.
Yeah.
I knew I would enjoy it, Hanny, but I didn't think I'd be as proud and enjoy it as much as I have.
Ask us, who's the most famous person you ever been on the same flight with? Now, this is all you, because, I mean, you've been on with everybody short of the Queen of England, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Peyton Manning.
That's pretty good.
Shared a cold Coors Light with Peyton Manning, actually, on a plane.
Hey, I
True
don't.
story.
I don't know that I've ever been on a flight with somebody really. I mean, I've met plenty of famous people, but I don't know that I've been on a flight with one necessarily.
You and I have been on the same flight. You and Moscona have been
Jacob
on the same
Hester,
flight.
yeah. Richard Dixon.
You go to Nashville last year? Or is that
Atlanta, huh?
Atlanta? I don't know.
Atlanta.
There's a lot of trips last year.
Gordy Rush. Thanks, everybody, for participating. For Cade Wazan and for Paul O'Neill and Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. Thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake,